and the ticket is yours. Cash and the ticket is yours. Yo. Cash and the ticket is yours. Cash and the ticket is yours. Cash and the ticket is yours. Yo. Cash and the ticket is yours. Yours.
Our inside here, you know, you get an insight and you know something, you know, but you don't want to say it out loud because you're kind of afraid that it's not going to be really true and it'll spoil the whole thing for you, you know. But when somebody makes you say it, then, and it's true, then it just makes it more beautiful of a thing.
It's another Friday, so that means it is time for another CGL Friday Night Overwatch. This time stepping into the NA console open tier. My name is Sam Talks. Joining me is To Try Hard Ray, Joker's Ransom, Head Rammer, and Ray, an extra special guest joining us, I do believe.
Yes, this is Shadow, and he's here to give some hot takes.
Oh, the hottest of takes. We even had to get the full screen just for Shadow. There, oh my gosh.
Aww.
I can't wait to hear their hot takes. It's going to be arcnificent. I tried.
I'm not going with that one. I'm not allowing that one through.
And now we have a cat. Okay. All right. Joker. Now you've got a cat, which is perfect because now we get to go full screen on you, your cat. Why don't you introduce us since you are new on the desk for NA?
Yo, what's up, everyone? My name is Joker's Ransom, Joker, whatever you want to call me. Actually, just call me for more opportunities. Yeah, but
Always got to shoot your shot.
Yeah, you gotta shoot my shot. You don't know who's watching, but yeah. I mean, I'm a tank player, and I'm kind of here.
You just kind of hear. Oh, and then Head Rammer had a. Yeah, I saw that little pop up. Let's get the full screen. Head Rammer, you got to pull it back up. Full screen on Head Rammer. All right, everyone's getting their chance to shine in the.
His name is Happy Gary.
Happy Gary.
Yeah, it has like a little back thing.
All right, everybody's got someone or something with them right now, and I'm just all by my lonesome, so I feel left out. I feel hurt on the inside, but you know, I'll be fine. I'll be fine. Hey, there we go. Full screen on me, anyways, because we have a lot to tell you tonight about our amazing games that we have coming up. Specifically, amazing game of Mischievous Boxes versus Sussy Sloths. Now, Ray, we'll start off with you here, buddy. I mean, both of these teams, right, we are seeing them in their standings specifically doing a phenomenal job here, even though we are just in week 3. Walk me through it, though. What are we expecting out of these two?
Yeah, both teams are doing really well. Both sitting at 2-0, both 6-0. Woods Gaming did forfeit against Mischievous against Sussy Sloths last week, but you know it is what it is. But
I'm sorry, the name was funny.
Ooh,
what's going on?
We got a minor mistake here on the side of Ray. I do believe inside of our Discord. I don't know if we can. Don't know what happened there. So, Head Rammer, why don't you take us away and help us go off of what Ray was talking about?
Yeah, so both these teams coming off of pretty strong weeks 1 and 2. I mean, you can see it right from this leaderboard right here. Both teams coming in 2-0, not dropping a single map the entire season so far. I mean, that's starting off that well is what will get you into the midseason tournament.
I couldn't agree more. Now, Joker, the fact though that we did have that forfeit for Sussy Sloths, is that going to make a difference here this week?
Honestly, I don't know. Again, it sets themselves up like Head Rammer was saying for the midseason tournament that they're already at a pretty good position here for it. But it is going to be a tough ask. Mischievous Boxes, again, have gone 3-0s in both of their matches as well. So, and not having a game, I believe, last week, that also kind of puts you at a disadvantage. We see it in like regular sports all the time. The longer you're like iced from competition, it is kind of puts you at a disadvantage going into this week.
Well, those kind of disadvantages, especially with the new hotfix that just came out, right, Joker? You're going to try and shake off some of the jitters that you've had going into this week and see if it's going to be the possibility of that not harming you, or maybe you've just been working on something in secret through scrims or through whatever means that you have available to you. I think we're getting Ray back somewhat. We got an image at the very least, so we know that Ray is here in spirit with all of us. Now, I guess when we do talk about these teams, though, Head Rammer, and the fact that they are undefeated and we are in such a high division, though, that does mean adaptability is there. That does mean that they should theoretically be able to deal with the hotfix patches that we've been having.
Yeah, you would definitely think so. Especially Open Tier itself is really oftentimes a pretty wide skill range, and adaptability is a really strong part that kind of goes to proving you are one of those good teams. With especially even just within the last week of the hotfixes. I mean, we've seen the day the patch came out. People were freaking out about Zen. Zen's really strong. Week later, Zen is nerfed. We kind of saw that cycle of Ball going into like some Larissa, going to back to Ram again, and we're kind of going through those cycles of people freaking out. Things are like really OP in the beginning, and then be like, okay, maybe it's not.
Yeah, maybe not. Maybe things are just the way that it's. I mean, Ray, these nerfs are they gonna have that big of an impact though this week? Do you think? Oop.
Nope, can't hear him.
Can't hear him. I don't know if
Muted, right?
Mike needs to turn.
We're getting
here we go.
technical
Here we go.
issues.
Sorry
Chat.
about that.
There we go. We got him
There we
back.
go. So, I don't think Zen's going to be as necessary as a pick. I mean, I still think we're going to see him. He's still strong, but he can definitely be more dove upon if you play Winston or Diva-based compositions because that kick doesn't get you as far back anymore. And I think, but besides that, when it comes to DPS, I still think the DPS we have are still going to be very strong. I think Ashe is going to be incredible with that dynamite. Tracer's always that damage fall. I don't think it's going to be enough to deter people from not playing her.
Really? That's an interesting sort of tidbit, I guess, that we could put out there. Joker, though, I want your opinions on this as well. What do we, the Season 9 hotfixes that came through, we've been getting sort of different ideas of what the supports are looking like. We're also seeing some buffs here for Zarya, Illari, and Junkrat. I don't think these are really enough to make a difference for these specific heroes, though.
Yeah, no, I feel like a lot of things are set in stone already. We've seen with the recent, obviously with OWCS coming back into it, and we have a pro meta coming back into things. We saw the screenshots coming in, and obviously like from scrims and whatnot from APAC. I mean, Junker Queen's kind of looking good.
Junker Queen, really?
Yeah, I mean, if you were, I was following this is fantastic Twitter account that's following the Asia regions.
Anonymous?
No.
Anonymous. This man's really just brought up OW Anonymous.
There was
let me.
yeah, go ahead.
I can find it while I'm rambling around, but I remember it was like a Junker Queen Echo Tracer comps, and with Moira Rush as well. So Moira Rush comp.
I was gonna say, obviously, teams are still experimenting and figuring things out. But I did see a screenshot of, I believe it was Hottie's team in the EU, though we spit fire, and they were playing Ramatra Moira Lucio brawl with Tracer Genji. So, I mean, again, it's also gonna depend region by region. We all know EU loves to brawl.
Yeah. I think Moira Rush is really good right now, and I think that a lot of people are underrating it because no one really wants to play Moira.
Is Moira good, or are people just trying to avoid dying?
Ooh.
No, that could be the case as well, because I mean, no one really wants to. Because again, with the support nerfs of Season 9, and with the healing passives coming back, I mean, it is. I would say probably people are looking to not die, but again, the sheer output of healing that can come through from Moira, if it is played correctly and not as a DPS Moira, is huge.
We did see in the EU PC open tier earlier today for us here in A that there was a Moira player who outputted unreal amounts of healing. Even though I believe it was like 6 minutes on Moira, 3 minutes on Kiriko, they still output like 13,000 HP of healing. It's an insane amount of healing. They doubled. They were combined the amount of healing on the enemy team, right? So both of the supports from the enemy team didn't quite match the healing of the Moira player. And so those little things that when you think about, especially going into the Season 9 hotfixes, going to be at the top of our minds. What else is at the top of my mind? Oh, go ahead, Ray.
Oh, I was just going to say with Moira specifically, she can output outrageous amount of stats when it comes to damage, healing, eliminations. Her problem is she just can't sustain long fights. So you just got to win quickly, but they're playing compositions to be able to do that.
Yeah, and I mean, I feel like with like Headrammer was saying, we were seeing back to the Ramatra Rush, that is really a thing that can still be done. You can go in very quickly with Lucio. Lucio is still very good. Obviously, you can go in with the pummels, get in the kills, and then obviously if you have the follow-ups with the damage orbs, with Moira Moira's Grasp, and then obviously the Tracer, Echo, whatever you really want to play with those quick heroes. Get those follow-ups. You can finish these fights quickly. You don't really need to sustain through.
Indeed. Well, quickness, name of the game. Also, the name of the game that I want to go ahead and start talking about here is going to be our lineup. Starting off with Mischievous Boxes, who actually, in a really cool turn of events, has a little something for us. Now, if that doesn't get you excited, if that does not get you hype, then I don't know what will. Right, Desk? Tell me about it. How do we
have more of that?
Yeah, we.
I don't think. Headrammer, correct me. I don't really feel like we ever see hype videos coming in from like our CGL teams. I think
so. This is actually something we're doing for Front End Overwatch particularly. We made this video for them. Actually.
Oh, sick! Really?
So for teams that are going to be on Front End Overwatch, we're reaching out to them saying like, send us your clips. If you send us clips, we'll make a video for you, a hype video for you going into the series, and then we give it to them essentially like a gift to them. They can use it for whatever they want. Then, unfortunately, Mischievous Box is the only one that gave us the clips for NA, so we only have one for NA side. Sussy Sloths did not, but I think they're pretty hype.
Whisper,
that's
whisper.
the goat.
Everyone
that's
out there, get your clips submitted. You're on Friday Night Overwatch. This is the easiest way to get those hype videos rolling. Now to talk about the actual lineup itself of Mischievous Boxes, wwhere we have Gilbert82, TST Glitch, Sanji OW, iSpawn Camp U, oh boy, and Stewie66 Gaza. Now, any names here, Joker, that are just popping out to you?
Well, when I was talking about Asia region compositions that we were seeing, Sanji, their most played hero, but their favorite is Reinhardt, obviously, as we see on the graphic there. But their favorite hero to play is Junker Queen. I'm interested to see if that is where they take us with this new iteration in Season 9, or we're going to see something more standard from them. That's really what I'm looking for, especially since they are the shot caller for this Mischievous Boxes roster.
Yeah, right.
If I could just piggyback off that a little bit, we were supposed to have Mischievous Boxes on FNO last week, so I talked a lot with them, and I talked to Sanji specifically. They were very sad that Junker Queen was not meta, because Junker Queen's their favorite, and they're really good at it. And as you mentioned, Joker, with these hot fixes coming in, might be back on the table. They might be able to whip out their best hero.
That's something that's very exciting, right? They get the chance to be able to shine on their favorite hero. Whether or not that's going to be able to blind out the radiance of our next lineup, let's go ahead and see who we have out of the Sussy Sloths with Alpha Kitten, Ace, Ev, 6'7", and Giraffe Man. Now, Headrammer, give it to me straight. What are we feeling about this lineup?
I mean, this lineup's pretty good. We watched them play actually somewhat recently on stream. I produced their last match, and they pretty much dominated. Now, admittedly, it wasn't against like super strong competition, but it seemed like they had a lot of ideas behind them. A lot of them revolve around Eve there on the Diva. Their team says, we have enough flex players to the point where we can do basically whatever we want. We just like to run their comfort picks. And they're just a lot of players who like playing competitive.
That
one game at a time.
Yeah, just one game at a time. Right, Ray? Just one game at a time, and take it with what you got.
Exactly. Both of these teams, high-powered, 2-0, 6-0 map difference. I think this is going to be a game for the ages. Can't wait to see how this one is going to tune out. But as I mentioned, I'm not sure how much I got in before I cut out. Mischievous Boxes, put them in the same tier as Red Team, Short Bus. They consider themselves one of those top-tier teams.
It's a high bar.
That is a high bar. All right. Whether or not they're going to be able to cross over that bar, yet to be seen here, right? Shining Radiance, a lot of different opportunities here throughout the season, but it obviously will be shown off tonight on stream here for Friday Night Overwatch. This is a desk, though, gentlemen, and with a desk means that we need to have some predictions. Ooh, yes, very good. Everyone on the NA desk right now so far is correct in their predictions, but now we are going to splinter off from each other. Headrammer, I'm going to start with you because you are the Sussy Sloth lover. You are
Yes, that
in
is me.
Sussy Sloth we trust. Why?
I just watched kind of the level of domination they had in their previous game, and while it was not like a large challenge for them, it felt like they really had a good read on what they were doing, and they were able to have a little bit of fun with it. They have that flexibility they've mentioned. The diva play has looked incredibly good, and honestly, I think they have a better read on the meta.
Okay. You think that so
At
you
least
think
for
that's
them, I think they play to their strengths.
so you think that's also going to be good enough, not only to just go 3-1, just like completely deny that fifth map.
Oh yeah, no fifth maps.
No fifth maps. Oh
No,
my gosh. No. Okay. Ray, Joker, both of you are at 3-1 in favor of Mischievous Boxes. Joker, we'll start off with you. We've been talking and singing the praises of Mischievous Boxes. Is that the reason why you think that they're going to be winning?
Yeah, I mean, other than that, I mean, like I was saying earlier in the desk, I mean, Sussy Sloths have been off for a little bit now with that loss, or not the loss, the forfeit win over the Woods team. So I mean, they are kind of coming into this maybe a little bit cold, a little bit not prepared, I wouldn't say, because obviously all these teams are probably scrimming to the most they probably can. But right now, I mean, I'm just believing in the Mischievous Boxes at the moment. I mean, they're 6-0 with both matches being played already, and sorry, not 6-0, 6-0 map record. The games, both of their games already played right now. I mean, and especially with Gilbert, who plays Widowmaker, and Widowmaker, if you're good at Widowmaker, you can just kind of dominate the entire game.
I want to talk about that.
Yeah, if they can land their shots the entire time, that's kind of just gonna be, hey, that's just, I think it's just gonna be down to the A, Junker Queen's pretty good, and B, if the Widow can hit their shots, it's gonna be kind of a wash in their favor.
Ray,
Honest with me, did the hype video win you over?
yeah, the hype.
So I got 3 reasons. One, I love the confidence that they're coming out, putting themselves with those top tier teams. You must think very highly of yourself. You're going to come in with confidence, know what you're doing, and going to dominate. 2, the hype video differential. I think I'm just a big fan of the hype video, and I think that's going to be a big differential. I had Mr. Shadow here whispering in my ear to go 3-0. Couldn't go 3-0, but I am going to go 3-1.
All right. Hey, Ray, you came in with 3 reasons. You gave us 3 reasons, and that isn't the most sound 3 reasons I've ever heard. Well, then I need to get my hearing checked. Now I'm going 3-2. I believe we're going to go all the way, but at the end of the day, I still believe in the power of Mischievous Boxes, but at least one of us on the desk is going to be correct. But I'm pretty sure 3 of us on the desk are going to be correct. Sorry, Headrammer. I don't mean to throw you under the
Sorry,
bus
you mean
like-
one person's gonna be correct? Is what you said?
I said 3. I said what I said, all right? Now, actually, hold on a second, though, because our casters are in a completely different direction. So we're 3 for 3 if you count in the casters, Hunter Tane and Chef Billy. Hunter Tane going with 3-2 in favor of the Sloths, 3-1 from Chef Billy in favor of the Sloths. Headrammer, are you feeling justified?
Oh, I mean, I feel like at this point you should be getting a little concerned about what you missed.
I don't know. I'm thinking Headrammer, caster, curse, caster,
Yeah,
curse.
true. Caster curse.
No.
I do see a name I recognize on the Sussy Sloths roster, and I do really like Jackish. If they play.
Okay. Oh yeah, if they, we didn't show off the rest of the roster of Sussy Sloths.
It's like 10. It's like what? 10 people.
Yeah, we had a lot of
people?
discussions on that in the EU side about having a ginormous roster.
Yeah.
Turns out it actually works really well. So at least they had the chance and the opportunity for a lot of substitutions, which could obviously benefit them massively in the long run here. But that is going to be it for us on the desk. I know everyone watching is ready, chomping at the bits to see this matchup between Mischievous Boxes and Sussy Sloth. So it's time to throw it over to our casters, Hunter Tane and Chef Billy, to take us through this series. Over to you.
Thank you very much to Sam and the rest of the desk. Really built this one up to be an amazing match, and it sure as heck should be. I'm here joined today, Chef Billy. Chef, we are in for one heck of a time. 2 undefeated teams here today. One of them, though, has to take their very first loss.
Yeah, I mean, it's always sucks when you get to this point in the season because, I mean, we're on, halfway through the first stage here of MTT 13, and somebody has to take a loss here. Now, looking at the rest of the PC Open or console Open tier, I mean, there's a lot of good talent here on the console side, so this is really going to set you up for that mid-season tournament where you have the opportunity to possibly get a bonus point going into the end of season playoffs. More of that later on. But, we took a look at how these two teams are stacking up against each other. By the way, Mischievous Boxes, what a hell of a entrance video. Can I please get one of that? Yeah, I mean, we had a graphic of a tournament I did, and they basically interposed my head onto some Shanghai Dragons. It was great.
I
remember
it.
it?
Yes, I saw it.
Okay, so can I get some of that, please? But you know what? Everything starts out in a certain place. We have a fixed map pool for you this week. Here, week number 3, and we're starting out on Control. And the first map of the day is going to be Nepal. And with everything that dropped with the hotfix on Tuesday, Hunter, oh my God, Zen not so strong anymore. Hog gets an indirect buff. People say that he could become a little bit more viable right now. I'm kind of in love with the Zarya buff, though, myself, being a former off-tank player back in CGL 6 and 7. So we'll see how Zarya builds up right now. We've seen it kind of being played with in the collegiate scene right now. NECC last night had a team that really did try to focus down with the Zarya and got a lot of work done. It just matters about the sustain coming from the other side.
Yeah, 100%. And like what we have seen a little bit lately, at least in terms of what we saw earlier from EU, is that Ramacho come out quite a bit as well. We've been seeing it come out in a lot more of these NA scrims as well, from what we've seen from a lot of the teams that kind of scrimming over in EU for OWCS. But obviously, this is NA. This could be a little bit different. But for everything that I've seen so far, I think it is a very reliable pick. I think you could even shift over towards the Diva when we get into later maps down the line. Not necessarily that's great for Nepal, but I think Ramacha is going to be a go-to pick in a lot of ways, but that's the great part about this, where we're kind of at this point in the stage. We don't know what these teams are 100% going to pull out. We're not back in a meta where that Winston Anna and Brig Dive was like the only thing you could run. We are at a time where the meta is still very open with that Season 9 patch, so I'm excited to see what both these teams want to bring out. And I think Nepal, the kind of variance we have on a map like that is going to show us a lot about both these teams and how comfortable they are to not only play the ball brawl, but eventually flex off of it as well.
I mean, that's the big thing right now. It's something that Jeff and I were talking about last night with the drop of Avatar, all the news about the Netflix Avatar thing going on.
Oh boy.
We are in the Book of Water right now, and we will see the path of least resistance come from these teams. So that's what I'm looking at right now, is how are they going to be able to flow into these fights? How are they going to flow as a 5-man unit and be able to take the real fight in their own terms? Now, let's take a look at those lineups one more time before we get in there. Sussy Sloths coming up first. Well, we got some changes coming in here based on what we saw earlier. Jaxie coming in on the DPS. We've got Boosta coming in for the other DPS duo. Now, Eve, she's going to be a big factor, I think, here for this Sussy Sloths team. And 6'7", inch taller than me, jealous. And Giraffe Man rounding out your support line. So Jaxie coming in here is kind of a surprise. It was listed as a sub. We'll see how this works to their favor or to their disadvantage in the fights.
I mean, it really can go either way in the situation. You have to worry about synchronization between teams, but there are some players that are good enough to simply come in and just make the magic happen just like that, that can immediately click with a team. And I do think there is a grand possibility from how good this team is that is 100% something that could likely happen. But I think that's something we're going to find out very quickly with this team, especially since we're likely going to see some mix of Brawl and a couple of these sub-maps for Nepal. But Of course, we're going to have to wait and see because we're getting ready to get into this matchup. And Bill, it should be a banger. I know I cast a curse a lot of these times. I know I make the 3-0s happen, but I will definitively state, Dexatron, I know you're watching. You can clip me later. I guarantee this will be a map 5.
Well, this is going to be a very short evening, everybody. I'm so sorry. Make sure that you do at your snacks. Also, make sure to ping Headrammer in the Discord to let them know how very displeased you are with Hunter right now. Make sure that you ping Headrammer, not Hunter Tane, in the Cord, because we want Alex's notification to go off the roof. I'm sorry. I'm kidding. But still, we're going to start out on Village. And here's the other thing that I've noticed a lot here between the different competitions that I've been casting is the mobility. Mobility is at such a high premium still. I think it's even more so now because you do have the reduction of what's going on with dear Zenyatta. Zenyatta's not able to fend off those flankers anymore. Look for Genji Tracer to be really prevalent here.
Yeah, and we're kind of seeing different stories for the time being. Mischievous boxes right now. You see Sanji currently rocking that Zarya, so Evelyn might have a bit of a tough time as they're running something this is slightly more accustomed to in the past when we had originally that break in Ana meta, but running with the D.Va and the Sojourn instead, this could work out, but the longer this fight goes on, it's likely to be better for someone like Mischievous boxes, but already going to be pressing upon the gate, and Sussy Sloths already being forced to take a different angle.
Yeah, I like this from them. You know, the fact that you're running the Zarya, but once those bubbles go, you're basically down. So, I mean, you're down both your bubbles. Now it's time for Sussy Sloths to get in there and take control of the fight.
Yep, and you see the strength of that Brig and Ana being together. Giraffe Man and 6'7", staying together, keeping each other alive from the wrath of Gilbert. And when going down quite yet, but Sussy Sloths trying to make some kind of contact here on the point. As this fight is very much all over the place, the Tracers going at each other a little bit, hoping to unlock that point eventually. Sussy Sloths, though, in a decent position to take it, and they initially will take it back over. This fight is very much still going and flying, but we are still yet to see a single elimination so far.
State is too damn good right now. Well, that will do it right there with the Vortex coming through. Yeah, but Evelyn does get a big pick there. So, I mean, you take a DPS for a support. This should still be in the favor of Sussy Sloths as long as they confirm kills on the back of it.
Yeah, Evelyn also needs Misha to stay alive. That is a lot of charge coming from Sanji, but eventually taking them down, but the damage might already be done, getting rid of 2 of their own. Evelyn, though, is fighting, might end up using the bomb to recontest, and they will, going in hot, hoping to find somebody. They're in a corner together, and nice play to get it and get rid of Evelyn. 32% going to be on the tail for Sussy Sloths, and they use the bomb, and it really only gets them an extra 5%. Oh my god.
All right, Gilbert. We see you. We appreciate you. We are flourishing with you in your lane. Now, for Sussy Sloths coming into this next fight, they've got the rally, and then, you know what, we're looking for an Eve here. I mean, this is a time for dessert here for Eve on the D.Va. Got to be expecting that Graviton Surge is online. The other problem is that on the approach, they're going to be facing this Ant Matrix, and they have only, really, this rally to keep them up.
Yeah, 100%. It's going to be difficult, especially if they manage to somehow get Evelyn out of lift, and they're going to throw in that grab. It is going to get absolutely 0, just air, but still, it is going to cause a little bit of a disruption. The Nano going to come up to make sure that Evelyn can stay alive and stewing, and then the rest of Mischievous box is falling directly behind. We see a heavy investment from both teams here, but definitely works out into the favor of Sussy Sloths, so we're going to take over that point. Really just Gilbert, the last person standing. They need to be able to get out alive, and it looks like they very much will.
I mean, Hunter, that was expensive from Sussy Sloths. I think they had a little bit of panic going into that fight. They knew that they had to flip it, though. So maybe in the end, you know, you get the value that you need. The big problem now is that Giraffe Man is going to be that person that's going to be hunted down. That and Grandma in 6'7".
Yeah, it's going to be really tough for Evelyn to survive, and already prevalent. And we're already in a scenario where they might not be able to make a touch on this point, but that is a good shot on Gilbert. That slick came through, gets interrupted. BCNC on the C right now, already getting rid of 1. The Pulse Bomb doing a lot. This fight is still very much winnable with Jessic and Boosted alive, but you need to get rid of NC, who's holding on to the point, barely ready to cap this thing over. Sanji back just in time to help out. 66%, and Sussy Sloths use a lot to try to hold on. Unfortunately, not able to.
I mean, and the fact that we see Sanjay go over to the Ramatra already 70% towards their annihilation. I mean, Evelyn is going to have to really make sure that they have the support resources to be able to go in and fight these battles, because you don't block the Nemesis Swarm punches coming through. So, I mean, and that's horrible for them, losing 6'7" on the approach. Yeah, this should be wrapping up pretty close to Final Fight territory.
Yeah, and they're really only going to have that bomb, which isn't going to do them a ton of good. The best case scenario you can hope is maybe you get the beat out, Immortality Field out. That'd be very nice, but there's still a lot on the side of Mischievous boxes to be able to put this thing away, and I imagine they're going to drop on whatever rotation that Sussy Sloths try to go with here, but you can see a nice little bit of pressure from Giraffe Man, and here comes the pressure coming in. 617 not able to stay inside the beat, coming online for extra measure. We are going to see the overtime come through as well. The last 3 on the point. Evelyn does have the bomb. Is going to have to just drop it down on the point. Nobody should realistically go down to it. Nobody indeed will, but at least going to remix. So this is still alive, but the damage has already well been done on the Sussy Sloths. Evelyn going to be the last one to go down. It doesn't look like anybody's going to get back eventually. Mischievous Box is taking away that one, switching up their style. Off of the Zarya that was already doing pretty decent, but just went for a style that could brawl a lot quicker and interrupt a lot more of the rotations.
So I like what Sussy Sloths are bringing out here, okay? I mean, NC Violent right here just absolutely popped off. But I think Evelyn being able to mitigate a lot of damage coming in from the Mischievous boxes is a good play. I just don't know if they have enough sustain on the back of it. The Brigitte was just getting dove too often by both NC and Gilbert on the side.
Yeah, and it was originally going fine in that first fight or two. Just once they realized they needed to switch over to that Ramatra, it was as good as over. But we do see the swap out from both these teams. Sanji currently repping that Sigma. I'd love to see it going in here to Sanctum. But of course, biggest thing to look at, Stewie and Giraffe Man on that Lucio. We could have a lot of boobs coming up in our hands here, Chef.
I mean, we're looking for Sanjay to be able to, basically hold court, use the cooldowns of the kit to deny all the damage coming in, be able to displace people with the accretion. But Evelyn can just walk past that and just have a fun time. They've got a Mei as well.
Ooh, nearly booped off to the side. Very close to doing so, but Sanji already in a really bad situation, getting a lot of healing from their team, though. Giraffe Man's the one that's got to be careful, nearly going down in their own right. And nobody climbing this point quite yet. I imagine we'll see a bit of pressure coming through from Sussy Sloths. Perhaps they drop down, but instead, Sanji's going to get run down, not going to be able to survive. You lose your tank. You're hoping maybe you can at least cap this point, get something out of this lost fight scenario. So the point will unlock for Mischievous boxes, but it's going to quickly go back to Sussy Sloths. But at the very least, for Mischievous boxes, you can commit to a fast reset here, just so long as Gilbert does not go down.
Well, I mean, they force out Lamp. So, I mean, that's actually a pretty big trade here. Mischievous boxes should have communicated that to the rest of the team. And now they're going to be looking to press it on top of that.
Ooh. Yep, already getting into, gonna have to use the form out the gate here, just trying to push through, but not able to contribute a lot. But Gilbert does have that pulse bomb. It comes up, 6'7", the best person they could have potentially caught. No more immortality field to work with. A lot of that healing gone, but Sanji may have gone in a little too quick, but gets a ton of support over from Icepawn Camp U. But here comes the comeback. There's the shots we were looking for. The point flipping back over. Stewie does find one, but Evelyn is going to double down with the investment just to clear things out here. That point somehow flipped back for a moment, but it flips immediately back. This fight so far has been just completely wild between these two teams.
I mean, the impulsivity of using the ultimate there. I love the aggressive nature, letting loose of that Annihilation. Built it up basically in a fight and a half. So, I mean, I don't hate it. I like the clear decision-making here coming from Sussy Sloths. Now, they're running into a Blizzard. Sanjay's going to have to really watch the position here as they make the approach.
Yeah, and they're going to come up immediately with that shield, looking for that speed ready to go, but you wonder whether they're going to put the pressure immediately onto the point, but Sanji's going to go behind, immediately walled off. Freeze comes up. It's going to catch at least Sanji. He's going to be booped away literally into the immortality field, but it's not going to be enough to preserve their life. So now Sussy Sloths likely just playing here for the sake of being able to stall things out. You can kind of see for the time being 6'7" getting moved off. Never mind, things might not be as clean as we originally thought. This brawl, a little split up, the window being infested in a very tight-knit spot. It ends up resulting in nothing at the point. Again, gonna randomly flip over, but it's not gonna mean anything at the end of the day. Evelyn gonna help themselves with a 3K, potentially give them the 4K. The Mischievous boxes aren't winning out any of these fights. They're just flipping the point for 5 to 10% and then walking away because they can't sustain that fight.
No, it's Jaxie right now. That's the big difference maker right now. Denying space from Sanji, not allowing Stewie to speed boost and disengage. That's the big reason why Sussy Sloths are doing so well here.
Yep. Do have Mitch to the touch, gonna use the beat to be able to do so. Still have a lot of things to work with. Here we go with that overclock being used on both sides for the time being. NC hoping to find somebody but boosted in their own right, hoping to find their own, just trying to drill directly into Sanji, who has to use the Annihilation just to make sure they can sustain the health and stay alive. A nice spot, Gilbert already fighting 2 of their own. Good taking a third. Gilbert helping Mischievous Box stay in the fight. Might as well give them the 5K, but NC not going to be so kind as to do so. Still a massive flavor by Gilbert to keep their team in this.
Oh my God, Gilbert just popped the frick off there, and you love to see it. I mean, that's the icing on the cake. But not only did they get the stick, they also take the immortality out and then clean up 6 foot second. I mean, basically within like 2 seconds of each other. Great mechanical skill coming out from Gilbert here. Now, it's going to be up to Stewie to be able to disengage here and really catch the Sussy Sloths on their approach. I think that should go, well, they're just going to make a full wrap around here and see what they can find.
Yep, been really good at catch them on these rotations. We see immediate pressure throw onto Sanji, who's taking a ton of damage. Immortality field already going to be forced out super low, but it's actually Jason that's going to be taken out first and foremost. It's going to be really tough to try to sustain this fight without that May wall to really hold back the attack, and they're in kind of this awkward situation right now, currently in this 4-5 situation where they're going to die slowly, but 100% surely is Evelyn just trying to hit away, get as much as they possibly can be, but the reset eventually going to have to come to form. A very unfortunate early loss, but they are going to have a lot going into this fight, but Mischievous Box is pretty much in the same camp as well.
Well, I mean, it's going to be window v window for this engagement. I think that if 6'7" can get a good angle as they go in and give a boosted, good line of sight on the point, I think they can get some stuff done. But Gilbert, once again, has this pulse bomb ready to go.
Yep, gonna just try to force out that freeze form surrounding it. A lot of pressure already, but again, have to use the recall just to make sure they stay alive. And it's gonna come down to this fight, ladies and gentlemen. Looking to find enough with that pulse bomb. Just really waiting for that block to come out. But you see the Baptiste in there, gonna send it out. A nice stick. The immortality field, though, is gonna be able to keep them alive. But that's a lot of people super low in the room. And Gilbert's ready to have themselves a field day. The freeze coming online. It is not going to catch on to anybody, though. Mischievous Box has managed to pull this one back. Are gonna cap the point, and with no one left from Sussy Sloths, Mischievous Boxes will take that one 2-0 to put themselves up beginning in the series.
Oh man, good stuff from Mischievous Boxes. They just basically waited for their win condition of that pulse bomb, and what good patience coming out of Gilbert there, just holding the point, just holding it, waiting for all the cooldowns to come out, and then finally lets it loose, forces out the window or lamp, and then stun. But I mean, Evelyn really showed something big here on this Ramatra. I'd love to see more of this. I mean, Ramatra versus Ramatra is just a cage match that we all need to have in our lives.
Oh yeah, 100%. And it's impressive to see how they pulled that one back, because remember, we were down to it was like a 25-99 scenario. Sussy Sloths were really close to pulling that one back, but you see Gilbert, who just came alive in so many of these fights, constantly hitting the pulse bombs. It was really a standout performance for them right there to kind of bring some of these fights back. That's just how strong the Tracer is right now, too. Like, it is that good of a character. They even got, the slight buff, technically, from this recent hotfix, so I love to see the performance, love to see it, but they do have to keep it up because Sussy Sloths, in their own right, are keeping themselves in this fight.
That really, you're absolutely right. I think the Jackie Shar here coming in on this May was the right pick. They just finally decided that they were just going to disengage every time that they saw the May on the field. Really just counter-rotated based upon where the May was positioned at, and they got so much value on it. That was a great stick. I mean, that's a Kobe coming from way out there. I mean, look at Sanjay. I mean, 11-5 on the damage level and not too far behind there. But, I mean, Gilbert there that was on the Tracer, out-damaging their Sojourn teammate. That is not easy to do, my friend. So, I mean, kudos to them. This is going to be a hell of a series. I think that we are definitely going for at least. But our prediction kind of looking a little bit frazzled right now.
Hey, listen, Billy, it is all in the script. Don't worry. I paid out Headrammer. I got that script early. I want to make sure we have it for this upcoming game. Obviously, once again, you can tag Headrammer over on Twitter if you have any issues with wanting to buy that script. But anyway, speaking of these two teams, you are correct. It has been rather close between them, but the game isn't really going to shift a whole lot in terms of what our next map is going to be, which we will get into for a moment. But between these two teams, what I have seen from them, it has been extremely impressive, the kind of coordination that they have, because the mistakes that they're making, they seem to be minor mistakes. We never called someone out for like, oh, that person's caught out again, or this person died first again. It's kind of been different every time, and that speaks volumes to the strengths of these teams, but you have to talk a little bit about the strength of Mischievous Boxes being able to come back from that 99 to 25% difference, because that's not easy for any team to be able to pull off, Billy.
No, it's really not. And I think I want to point out again, something that I mentioned in our opening is that the flank players right now is so important. When you don't have the Zenyatta on the field, these flankers are going to have almost carte blanche to do whatever they want to do, especially if you got your cooldowns on standby. I mean, as long as you're managing the blinks of a tracer, you're managing the recall, not going in too heavy and having to force yourself to use it, being very cognizant of your surrounding area, of the geometry of the map, knowing that you can get back there, know that you can get a mini health pack if you happen to take a little bit of a beating. You saw that very, very prevalent coming out of Gilbert there while they waited with the pulse bomb. They knew the rotation was coming through. They just waited for all the cooldowns to come down, just kind of danced around, avoided the damage from 6'7", and then just Kobe'd that pulse bomb into that small antechamber. And that was like the micro, like the whole of the entirety of Nepal in a nutshell. Was Gilbert was just dancing everywhere. Nobody can really tag the tracer, and they're playing it to perfection.
Yeah, 100%. We're going to see if they're going to be able to pull that one off, because we know we're going to for our next map. I mean, we know all the maps realistically, but of course, our next map, lovely, lovely King's Row. Some of you may refer to it as Scrim's Row, but coming back into this, I don't think we're going to see a whole lot of differences in terms of composition. I think we've seen a Junker Queen composition come out very much here and there. It's very possible for it to pull out, but I think that Tracer could become a mainstay. I think Soldier's a good possibility as well. And we saw them make him out earlier. I think if they really wanted to pull out here, First Point is an excellent place to do that, especially on the defense. That wall is very powerful, and May is synonymous with King's Row for a reason, because it just takes one wall to just separate the rest of your team. And if you're coordinated enough, they're dead in 1 or 2 seconds. It can happen just like that if you have that proper coordination.
I think I like the May here, though, to be honest. Looks like we have a substitution, though, coming in. On the side of Sussy Sloths, so Jackson's going to go out. We're going to have, it looks like Casey is going to be coming into the DPS role. So this may be a plan switch. There are certain teams that have like a control specialist where they only play on the control maps because it is such an outlier of our maps. So I think that this might be one of those planned substitutions coming in. Otherwise, maybe Jackson wasn't feeling it. And just said, sub me out. I'm not on my game right now. We need to win this match. Go ahead and put the next one in line down.
Yeah, that's kind of the benefit when you have so many people on the team. But yeah, we see it right there. So we're to see what that switch is likely going to end up being, because I mean, they were able to run that May style earlier. I think it's very possible to come up and, I mean, obviously we're going to see here in a couple of seconds. Of course, we do have Sussy Sloths going to be attacking first and foremost, and Mischievous Boxes. What in the name of EU is happening here? Billy, that there is a Reinhardt in Season 9 in 2024?
Yay!
I'm a little surprised. I am not going to lie. My coach has told me very dedicatedly, do not play Reinhardt in matches in scrims, but, well, you know what? I'm just going to go cry in the corner real quick. I'll be back.
Yeah. Okay, I'll talk while you're there crying in the corner, watching her kiss her. Whatever. I'm in a corner watching you kiss her. Oh. Okay, so I mean, we'll see if Casey can get something done with Widowmaker. I mean, stranger things have happened. This could actually be a very dynamic duo going up Casey versus Gilbert. We'll see who gets it out. I mean, there's a body shot, so I mean, they were definitely feeling it.
Yeah, Evelyn just going off the top rope, more or less, going for the body slam, but unfortunately not going to happen. But I appreciate the effort as Gilbert finds a nice shot onto Giraffe Man. But I like it. I imagine Evelyn's going to swap over now to the Orisa. Orisa does come out from time to time, but I'm excited to see this Widow battle between Cash and Gilbert here.
If you also see 6'7" onto the Kiriko, so you're looking to dispel some negative effects. Suzu, good step, good mobility there, and that's a great pick coming from Boosted.
Ooh, yeah, fantastic. Gilbert out of the fight nice and early. That's exactly what you want if you are Sussy Sloths, and if You already do have a couple supports that are low as well. The Immortality Field is going to have to be used. A very winnable fight to start things out here for Sussy Sloths. But the longer this goes on, the longer they're going to be able to, or more time they're going to have to get their 5th member back. But I love that aggression to push forward, try to force out more of these cooldowns coming through from Mischievous boxes. And Sanji's super low, literally 1 health. But they do have to commit a touch, or they're looking, and it's looking like they're potentially not going to be able to with the death of Sanji. 100% not. And it's not just they lose the point. Now they're going to die 1 by 1. And check, Billy, they're realistically not going to be able to hold this archway now.
Nah, their first defense is going to come around the pub. Maybe. If they're lucky. We'll see. Evelyn, I definitely like the fact that they're going to be going forward up there. They know that Gilbert is up there, ready to pounce. So, I mean, yeah, why not go ahead and chase the Tracer? You got the rest of your team on the point. The problem is Gilbert has already put out a pulse bomb. So we're going to see what's going to happen as we move forward here.
Yeah, really far up for Evelyn. That wall going to catch the very tail end of them. And that window's going to be thrown in, trying to double down, get rid of Evelyn. Unfortunately, not going to work out. Still, they will kind of have to make their way out of there. But you might not have to with a shot like that. Ice Spawn Camp, you being taken out. But here comes that investment, the Annihilation, or not the Annihilation, coming up and ready. But they do not pull it out. It's Evelyn and Stag, and they 2 with their own. Make it 3! And that's going to clean things up nice and tight now for Sussy Sloths. Cleaning up, and with that late kill onto Stewie, a touch, it's still not impossible, but it might have to be slightly more rushed than you would hope, potentially.
You do have your own Annihilation, though, and you're going to have a sound barrier to back you up. So, I mean, there's actually some good sustain here. It's just, do you invest both those ultimates into this fight? Can TST, by the way, welcome to the match, coming in for MC Viewland. No, going into Consider Rush, never mind, don't do it.
Oh, yep, Boosted, going to be in the backline trying to deliver some damage, but you're going to see Sanji get that very first pick, getting rid of the Sojourn, and now that fight's basically going to be over just like that. The double investment of the ultimates coming through more than works out in their favor. So Sussy Sloths, I mean, good for them. They are going to hold on to that beat. It's going to be very powerful, especially with Glitch going to have their own freeze coming on as well. And this fight, it could, at least this fight coming up here, it could really slow down the momentum that Sussy Sloths has kind of built up for themselves so far.
I think that you take that trade, though. You take the Annihilation and the sound barrier, and then you have your own sound barrier plus a pulse. We got a JQ sighting here coming through. I like this. Going to be looking for either Casey or 6'7" to pull him and yank them in with the Jagged Blade.
Yep, Free's going to come online. Evelyn hoping not to get caught, but they're literally the only one on the other side of the window. Hoping the beat comes to line. 6'7", though, not going to get caught with it, but still very much a winnable fight now as Boosted's coming back into the fight. Hoping to take that 1v1. Gilbert deleted, and Sanji not too far behind. And now it is just going to be Ice Spawn Camp U to be sent back to their own spawn. And that second point cap going to come through a little over 4 minutes on the line for Sussy Sloths. That patience on holding their ultimates in that previous fight really does work out for them here.
Yeah, they drew it out there. I mean, they basically dared Mischievous boxes to come in and give it out their ultimates. That's exactly what they did. Now it's all about high ground control here for Sussy Sloths. Can you deal with it? I mean, 6'7"'s positioning has been a little bit sus here from the Sussy Sloths.
Yeah, and that's going to be one heck of a trade out as well, but it does end up working out in the favor, seemingly, of Mischievous boxes. But we're seeing the Annihilation come online, more or less just to stay alive, but 6'7"'s not going to be back in time to deliver any healing, so Sussy Sloths, unfortunately, that ultimate going to go down the drain. And now they've more or less hit the reset button as well, because Mischievous boxes are in a fantastic opportunity to set up a really good ult rotation coming up in these next couple of fights.
Absolutely, especially the first one coming out the gate is going to be the Amp Matrix, especially if they can set it up here right on this first quarter, right around the payload. Just deny all avenues away here for Sussy Sloths.
Yep, 100%. We see that amplification matrix ready to go. Really just waiting for that right moment, but you have to watch out because we do see right now, ready to go is the overclock, but first and foremost, going to have to back up and wait. And it does buy them some space, but nobody's going to go down as a result, so I imagine as soon as this is down, they're going to come rushing around this corner.
Watch for the wall coming out from TST here as you watch them try to get aggressive on the back of it.
Uh-oh. Ooh, that's a clean move as well to get them off of that high ground. But Sanji literally gets deleted. Welcome to the tank roll. Gilbert potentially not too far behind. Eventually taken out as well. They get him 2, and they get the kill from beyond the grave as well. and this distance is slowly closing in, and the amount of people that can touch this thing is closing away as well. Stewie might be the only one, has that beat ready to go, really needs to let it loose as they're going to send in both of them as well with that Rampage coming through, hoping to find somebody. Giraffe Man getting super low, coming back into this fight, but Sanji is still getting deleted, and not even that, they have the Matrix, Amplification Matrix in the back. It's going to be a nice wall from Glitch, though, to hold it off for the time being. But regardless, this is staying in the favor of Sussy Sloths. This fight so close for them.
Watch the Blizzard. TST has it online. I mean, they don't even get a chance to press it. Holy cow. Casey just said nope.
No freeze for you, good sir. That'll be, I believe that was about 1:53, which that's a pretty healthy time going into a map like King's Row. A lot to work with, and I'm really impressed seeing them come through on this Ramatra composition, really making it their own. And I'm especially impressed by how much we see someone like Evelyn staying alive in these fights and Boosted able to make a really big impact here in these 1v1s against Gilbert, who was the hero of map 1, but is Boosted now, who's shutting them down here in King's Row.
Okay, so I want to kind of circle back to positioning here. 6'7" is getting annihilated early in these fights, and we really need to see them kind of clean up their positioning because they seem to be the first frag. It's happened quite a few times here. We'll see if they can clean that up in their defense.
Yep, going to have to see, not going to see a whole lot different. We can kind of see the comparison. There didn't look like a big impact before, but all those deaths coming through from Gilbert, they were getting blown up, unfortunately, in those 1v1s, dying a lot. And that can happen on the Tracer because you'll see a Tracer that has 10, 11 deaths per 10, and you might see one that has 2 or 3. It can make an absolute... Evelyn, I don't know if you can plug the Twitter if you win, or the Twitch if you win. But it is a comparison to see, and I love seeing that difference from you can go for a one map to more or less being a hero to now you're getting shut down from, you know, Boosted and KC, who are doing a lot, but we're more or less seeing the mirror now. But Glitch is going to stick on that Mei.
I mean, I didn't hate the Mei. I mean, the walls were good.
Yeah.
But I mean, now, here we go. I'm trying to spin right around.
Yeah, literally did the same thing that Sussy Sloths did, more or less, just without the diving Reinhardt, of course. But for the time being, we are going to see hiding out in the corner is Sanji, who's still a little isolated. If they really wanted to close in, they would have the opportunity, but they are going to wait and make sure they have the major abilities ready to go here, hoping to get somebody down first and foremost. Evelyn getting pretty low in their own right, but for 6'7", they're going to be getting a lot of ult charge here, but you might not need it as we do have the trade out between Gilbert and KC, but still, this is more or less going to benefit Mischievous boxes a little more, especially with Boosted going down, because Chef Billy, it's going to be really tough for them to stay here. They might have to back off and give away a tick or two.
I mean, I would definitely do a strategic disengage here. Try to pull out what you can from them. I mean, you're going to be going into this, well, I'm going to say the ad matrix coming from Mischievous boxes. They might invest this to get aggressive.
Ooh, that is literally worst case scenario on that push for Mischievous boxes. They looked like they were going to catch 6'7", but now unfortunately not even going to get that second tick boosted. Going to be able to keep themselves alive. It's a chaotic fight, but we are going to see Mischievous boxes back up for the time being and regroup because they're going to have a lot coming up on the line here very shortly.
Watch for Boosted going on the flank here, trying to pick somebody out with the pulse bomb and see if they can get a stick.
100% here. We see that shot gonna just miss. Casey almost getting caught out, but not quite. And here comes both of the application matrix, and it's Sanji that gets caught, but Gilbert very quick to respond with the overclock. The beat coming online to be able to sustain it, but Boosted is shut down. The pulse bomb not going to get anybody as the annihilation's gonna come through. And that's 2 ultimates that go down the drain for Sussy Sloths, not proving to be effective. And now we have the cleanup coming through from Gilbert and the rest of Mischievous boxes who are still alive. It's really just on Giraffe Man to try to live, but they are not going to. Close hold, still though, is possible for Sussy Sloths if they really wanted to force it.
I mean, so look, they just get a 2.5 minutes put on, so now it's 4:27. They try to get through the streets here. Evelyn popping that annihilation was probably their ticket to keep themselves really involved around Bookstore. But the fact that we see such a large pursuit come from Mischievous Box is kind of a missed opportunity there to get some card progress going on. They're actually going to be able to make their first stand here at Bookstore.
Yeah, it's going to be very amazing for Sussy Sloths to be able to play here after getting taken out kind of a little bit as late as they did, but at the same time, it's Glitch who has that freeze ready to go. The Beast's going to come in with that mega aggressiveness. Giraffe Man already down. We see the Peel trying to help out. The rest of these DPS are getting run down, but unfortunately, Casey not long for this world. 6'7" does manage to find I spawn camp you, but That's more or less just going to act as a little bit of all charge to go home with because they're going to be wiped off the floor. Mischievous Boxes have some really important ults, and they held on to that freeze, by the way. That's going to be amazing to have for this coming fight.
Well, we'll see. We'll see when they decide to deploy it. Haven't been impressed with the Blizzard so far. We'll see if they can get some actual good value out of this one. At least as far as zoning, I think that's going to be a big, important one for them to get through. But I think that Casey might have an answer here. With that, taking down their opposite.
Chef Bill, you must see the future right there. And now this fight more or less going to be over already. And they're going to commit the freeze after the fact, so it's going to do more or less nothing. You lose that, and all you had to give was the overclock. That's so unfortunate to lose the freeze in that way.
I will recall just a couple seconds ago when I said I was not impressed with the Blizzards. Yep, there we go again. Not impressed with the Blizzard. And now all you've got on your line here is the Annihilation. And you've been stripped out in the sound barrier department. You've been stripped out in this window department.
Yeah, speaking of ults going down the drain, a little unfortunate right there. Evelyn not going to be able to escape. And now we're pretty much ending this scenario where being able to come back for a second fight is not realistic at all. I imagine we're just coming down to a game of potentially just trying to stick alive, but you can see the dynamic duo boosting Giraffe Man still alive, just barely. Giraffe Man trying to win the 1v1, flying around. It's 3 meters, 2 meters, 1 meters, hoping for that touch. Just going to be short on it, though. 3:40 on the clock. Just a little bit less than what Sussy Sloths have, but the difference is they might find a late pick or two, but it's looking like they're able to get out and help each other out. But between both these teams, big ultimates coming up. That window online for I Spawn Camp You and that overclock could especially be strong.
It could be. But I mean, look for Boosty once again. You need to see a stick here. Do your best Gilbert impression from map number 1. And now this overclock should come out right now.
Yep, and we did see that slide go a little awry, but here comes that pulse bomb. It's going to get Gilbert, though it did. I believe it did stick onto Sanji in that process, but still getting a nice couple of cleanup here as well. Sanji's not going to be able to make it out. I think Stewie's the only one that's going to be able to do so, but still, you get out that amplification matrix. Really strong one to get out, but they're only going to have the beat, but that beat's going to be pretty powerful in the face of an overclock.
I mean, Gilbert does have this overclock coming in here. We know that they have the aim. We know they got the good mechanics, but now it's all about the sustain coming through and watching for Giraffe Man to deposition them with the Sonic Boom. We'll see if that can actually come through and if they can actually get some value on the back of this. They're waiting for all these cooldowns to come out from Evelyn before they commit.
Yeah, they're trying to hold on to the best that they can because they're able to play this corner pretty defensively, but they can only give up so much space at the end of the day. But here comes that aggressiveness onto Gilbert. Immortality going to get forced out. A couple people hello for a moment, but here comes that aggressive beat from Mischievous Boxes. Going to use it on the engagement. And Giraffe Man was flying across the sky. Somehow manages to get it online. Nobody down quite yet, but that beat going to run out for both sides. Gilbert hoping to find somebody, eventually going to drain away Evelyn. That wall, not going to catch anybody, but we could see a couple of late stagger kills here. Casey going to be one of them, but we see an amazing stall here from 617 who's going to die on the point, so that gives the rest of the team the ability to come back and get this one more time, comfortably so.
Weird pulse bomb there from Boosted. Sorry about that, bud. Oh, you want to talk about that? Now that you've got the Annihilation ready to go here for Sanji coming in, there's just a couple of meters left. It's going to have to be a very fast touch from Giraffe Man coming in.
Yep, it's going to be really down to Casey to hopefully find somebody. Both ultimates being used. Evelyn literally just trying to survive at the point. Casey already being taken out. Evelyn not too far behind that window. Eventually going to call on lines for 6'7", but it's just going to be delaying the inevitable. Going to be capping here momentarily. Just that last little touch coming through from Giraffe Man. 119. Both teams going to have a decent opportunity. At least 2 fights apiece coming up for their extra attack rounds. And I'm very much impressed with Mischievous Box's ability to come back because it's not the best feeling getting, finished off on King's Row with 2 minutes on the clock. They bring it back. They make it work. But still, I want to see something way better from their defense this time around because similar to Sussy Sloths, they got ran through pretty quickly on that point A defense.
I think the big difference here is that we're going to have an old cycle here for Sussy Sloths. They don't have to throw themselves like Mom Spaghetti at the point. So that's the big thing, is that there is about a 40-second difference between these two teams, and that's going to be the big one for me, is how fast can Mischievous Boxes get their act together and really pull this through. God, look at Evelyn.
Oh my
16-5 on the Ramatra. Yeah, that's pretty damn good. I Spawn Camp You on the Baptiste is putting up a tour de force with this Baptiste right now. 12-2 from Gilbert is not that bad, but Casey, I think, had the better of the positioning. Really did use the slide a lot better to either engage or disengage from optimal shooting lanes. So we'll see if Casey can continue this now. Sanjay showing us the Doomfist. I don't hate it.
Yeah. I mean, we saw Doomfist earlier today. Did not go that well, but Sanji, a completely different person. We could see it go a completely different way as Glitch. Immediately going to head back over to that May. Potentially got a little bit of information that caused him to go back and change things up. But Gilbert hoping to find somebody's head here as we see that engagement coming through. Hoping to find somebody good on the punch. Gets a couple people low, but Casey is actually going to be taken down by Gilbert, who was ready for the follow-up. Already falling apart right now as Evelyn needs to try to get out of there. Is going to be able to do so for the time being. But Mischievous boxes setting themselves up beautifully as the force touch has to come through for Sussy Sloths. And it is just not going to happen. Boosted manages to find one, but that cap is going to come through. 40 seconds on the clock. The rest of Sussy Sloths got to stay alive, but Boosted not going to be one of them.
I mean, we're at 35 seconds. I mean, the first fight defense here is going to come up at about 10, maybe 5 seconds, right around the bookstore. Yeah, I mean, Sanji right now is basically unkillable for this Mischievous boxes, especially if they get under really bad duress and you put out the power block too early. You've got that immortality barrier from I Spawn Camp You that has led our healing department here. Man, this is going to be a very close engagement. They have to focus somehow, get back on the back of the support line and own them.
Yep, 100%. We do see that wall already going to be extinguished from Glitch. But now we're looking at Boosted, 96%. Already Evelyn taken out. Need something big with this, and it's not going to get anything. Just an Immortality Field of 6'7" in a bit of a type situation themselves. But Giraffe Man somehow manages to get rid of Sanji. But the immediate hit back on the Boosted is going to make this really tough for anyone to really stay in this. As we see the double investment for Mischievous boxes. Cannot blame them in the slightest for doing so. They're getting a ton of distance. But Sussy Sloths coming back with a couple of their own. But still, this is a lot of distance to make with only a minute 20 on that clock.
Right. I mean, they have completely eradicated this 152 time bank that Sussy Sloths has. I mean, they're just going to have to hope that they can move in and get a last-second contest before they capture their 5th point here. And Body Boosted is just getting absolutely annihilated by this Sanjay Doomfist.
Yep, still be using that beat as well. Was getting pretty low, likely using it to just defend their own life. But now we have that beat coming online shortly, but Ratman's not going to stay alive long enough to use it. The team splits up a little bit. Boosted is already coming up to a second pulse bomb, but not going to matter as the rest of the team's going to get wiped away, already capping that second point. And they still have more to work with. They're still going to have that freeze, and Sanji looking like he's going to make that swap, potentially going to either max Orisa or maybe go to the Zarya, perhaps.
No, Winton. Winton. I mean, I don't hate it because it's the same premise as the Zarya. Better bubble, better mobility as well. Build up a quick primal, and you could possibly be looking at 6 4 points here.
Yeah, Free's going to come online, hoping to catch somebody. KC going to be the first one to go down. And again, Something's lost. They get separated for a time being. KC is down. Yes, we're going to see that Freeze come up, but they got to make it back to the point. But that is not a priority here. Not able to make it back, but still being able to get that basically halfway through 3rd point. That is an incredible distance to get with a minute and 20. And even with that near 2-minute time back from Sussy Sloths, they're going to have to use all of it, realistically, just to make it to the 2nd point cap. Like, it's going to be really difficult.
This was all done in overtime. That's the beautiful part of this, is that this was all done in overtime. I mean, they had their first engagement was at 8 seconds. They're at the bookstore after capping point A. So, I mean, Sussy Sloths, yeah, they've got their work cut out for them here. I mean, look at the difference in healing. I mean, almost 3.5 ahead of 6'7". The eliminations are there. The damage is a little bit higher for 6'7". Perhaps we want to look a little bit more healing rather than trying to land the kunai. Giraffe Man has really been pulling the weight and really making sure that this engages that be clean. We really need to see, though.
I miss that.
I miss that. Thanks, Hippie. We love our Hippie here. But
yes, we do.
Sanji showing us the Junker Queen here on their defense. And look at this. Glitch coming out on the Sombra.
Yeah, I actually like this a lot because this is more or less like, let's say, for instance, Sussy Sloths, they do decide to roll down. That EMP incredibly strong ultimate. It could wipe away them with just one fell swoop with the coordination that we have seen from Mischievous Boxes. It's a nice contingency just in case, but for the time being, gonna be forced out of there. Evelyn's gonna get hacked away on this D.Va, which I don't really hate the D.Va going into the Junker Queen, but that is a very big target for Gilbert and for Sanji to kind of hit away at. Just basically constantly keep on that passive debuff from the healing, but for the time being, they're gonna be circling around, taking their sweet time, all things considered.
Boosted on the Reaper. It's very interesting. They were probably expecting the Doomfist again, which means, I mean, they're kind of up the creek. Now they need to be focusing down the back line once again, not allowing Sanji to just basically hold court here on point A.
Yeah, and now we see that original jump on the point, a nice hack. Not going to take him out of mech though or anything like that, but he's going to force him to hit a bit of the back out, and already half that time extinguished from Sussy Sloths time bank. Lucy gets run into, going to have to get out of there, and already got to use their abilities to be able to stay alive, but fight very much still alive for Sussy Sloths, who found that first cap, potentially going to gain their second one. Mischievous Boxes, they can wait it out. They're not going to get anything from it right now, and neither is Sussy Sloths, though, is going to hopefully touch this, but remember, they can let it go. There's not as much of a harm of it, but we're going to see Gilbert going down first and foremost. Hope we find another, and Evelyn 100% will. But at the end of the day, the best thing has happened for Mischievous Boxes. They have taken away a ton of time, and this time is more or less going to run out coming up on this next corner, and that's at least a couple of fights that Mischievous Boxes is going to have to work with.
Kitsune Rush into this next fight. They're going to be at about the same exact time bank that Sussy Sloths had as they approached here. Yeah, we're at 8 seconds. This is where we met the battle last time, and it was all Mischievous Boxes. Now, you're looking at this Kitsune Rush. You're looking at an upcoming sound barrier as well. I think the 6'7" needs to get aggressive with this Amp Matrix and just force the positioning out of Mischievous Boxes.
Yeah, but 110%. But we see this dive ready to come down. This is more or less turning into a dive with the Junker Queen. Here comes that window. It's down to Evelyn to stay on that point, and Sanji is already going to be deleted. You see Glitch there on the point, trying to survive for as long as they can. That's a nice shot by Casey to help get rid of I Spawn Camp You, and Glitch is going to die as well. So, this means there's not going to be too heavily of a contestment before the second point comes through here. But this would be massive for Sussy Sloths to be able to get this, because their spawn point would end up being right there. And I think for now, Mischievous Boxes looking like they might potentially hold back.
Yeah, I mean, you can hold back and see what you got. I think you're also looking for EMP when Boosted goes in with this Death Loss,
yeah.
and they probably think that he has it right now, just based upon the damage coming through. So, I mean, 5 points to 5. We've got a difference of, what, under 25 meters here. This has got to be a huge rampage.
Yeah, that EMP 80% away. This could be massive whether this comes online or not. Sussy Sloths do have the ults to be able to combat, and for the time being, we see that beat ready to go. It's got to be able to stop, but Glitch is getting super close. This beat's going to come online. It's going to come online from Dragman. I assume any second. It's going to come online. The EMP not going to catch, though. Evelyn is not. Oh, they will be able to remake, but Boost is not. 1, 2, 3. They're still on the point. They're still surviving, and they're going to try to make it back, but they're not. Boosted with the absolute clutch. Sussy Sloths, they pull it off and tie up the series.
Oh
my God.
Freaking go!
Oh,
Boosted. I mean, the EMP, the Rampage caught 5. The EMP caught 3. Boosted was in the middle of a shadow step out of there, and they win because of that. Just, I mean, it was luck. It was luck that they were going through that. When the EMP came out, it doesn't cancel it out, and they end up being able to launch the Blossom on the unprotected underbelly of Mischievous Boxes, and then we are sitting at a tie game, my friend.
They were so close to catching on the EMP as well. Everything that could have went their way in terms of these ultimates did go the way of Sussy Sloths. I mean, we're going to see that clip. We'll see a compilation down the line, Chef Billy. That 100% is going inside of it. That is so exciting to see. And this was super close. Like, this is what I really love to see. I mean, words, in a way, sometimes words can't quite describe it, but I love to see both these teams going back and forth. The impressive gameplay that we saw. Gilbert, who was on fire for a little while, but Boosted coming through clutch at the end. Evelyn doing a lot on this D.Va as well, able to peel for their backline a lot. I'm just so impressed with what this team was able to do to come back from a scenario that, for a moment, I think they might not be able to potentially come back from.
There it is. Oh my God,
Wow.
It was so perfect!
That's incredible.
It was so perfect! Oh man. Okay. We got a game here. We got a game here.
We do.
Sanji, 18-4 on the damage. Gilbert, 19-6. But to lead everybody, Evelyn, 21.2k damage. Ay, ay, ay. That is some serious work being done by all around. And I mean, Ice Bond Camp right now is just the healer that everybody needs on their team. 20.1k healing through that. And I mean, just an absurd amount of kills as well on the back of it.
That is absolutely incredible. There's not a single stat line I could really look at and say, that's kind of below the par. Everyone putting in a great performance. Even looking at someone like 16k is still a lot to get, all things considered, but it's really impressive seeing that 20k come through, with them able to get out 7 ultimates apiece. It's just so impressive. This is so impressive. I love seeing these two teams so closely contested like this, and I'm really excited to see the rest of the series, because I said it earlier, this should be a map 5, and Chef Billy, I think at this point you could agree with me. It's really looking like we're going to head down that path.
I mean, absolutely, but you know what? We're going to go ahead and take a quick little break. Let everybody get some snacks, use the bathroom, get a drink, and please breathe while you're back. We'll be back in about 5 minutes. Don't go away, folks. Map number 3 coming back when we return with FNO.
I'm not crazy, Malin. I'm not crazy, Malin. I've just been in a very bad mood for 40 years. 40 years.
Carpe diem. Carpe diem.
Welcome back, everybody. Once again, here in our matchup here within the Console NA Open tier, we have one heck of a matchup so far here. We have Mischievous Boxes and Sussy Sloths so far tied up 1 apiece. And both these teams, Chef Billy, have been entirely impressive so far. We went for 4 different rounds right there on King's Row. Both teams ended up pushing it to the limit, it coming down to 1 big Death Blossom. It is so incredible. And for both these teams, they've done a fantastic job. But it's these tank players that have kind of been standing out a lot in their own right and doing a lot for their teams respectively.
I mean, there on King's Row, Evelyn came into their own, and I'm here for it. I am here for it. I mean, you can take a look at that right now. There's not much between them. Let me be very clear about these stats here. This is across 2 full rounds. So this is beautiful work from Evelyn. Really you watch them kind of starting to hug, almost like a Reinhardt does. Starting to hug corners, really kind of denying the incoming damage, really managed their shield placement as well. And then as far as the eliminations and the final blows for 10, the Ravishing Vortex usage out of Evelyn, I was really clued in on, very keen to see how they were deploying it. They would, throw it out first, wait for the damage to come back through to them, and then put the shield up. So they've kind of switched up from what we saw there on Sanctum. They've kind of like reversed it. So they're not throwing the shield out first, then lobbing over their Vortex out there. They're letting Vortex come out there, letting their healers get their work in, and then going in with the shield and, watching the DPS kind of funnel all that damage forward. So, I mean, this is great coordination. We talked about the coordination of Mischievous Boxes earlier tonight. Now let's talk about how the Sussy Sloths just turned that around. Yes, that is a 5-6 on your board because we did go into extra innings there. And now we're heading into our third map as Flashpoint. It's going to be New Junk City.
Yeah, New Junk City, and this is where coordination is really going to come into the things, because I think we are far beyond the point now of where we had Flashpoint come in, and it was just a chaotic mess. I felt like deathmatch for a lot of people, but we are far beyond that point. Coordination is 100% key on a map like Flashpoint, and this is the kind of thing where momentum can play an absolute massive figure going off of that very first point. I imagine we will likely see the Junker Queen come back out. I think is incredible for this point. Will both teams do it? Maybe. I could see Evelyn staying over on the Diva potentially, but one thing we do have to bring up is that these teams are not remaining the exact same, Chef Billy, because we're going to have a little lineup change here. Mischievous lineup, or Mischievous Boxes, going to bring an NC Vulent into this again, which that means they bring out Glitch, which means they're not going to play the Mei, but does that mean we're going back over to a Tracer Sojourn lineup along with the Junker Queen? It would make sense, but we've seen different things from these teams so far, so it wouldn't surprise me if that somehow wasn't the case.
I think we do go back to the Tracer Sojourn. I mean, such a good sustained amount of damage coming through. Looking for, what kind of damage can this flanker get? I think that NC Violent goes back over to the hit scan roll. And then Gilbert becomes that flanker that they seem a lot more comfortable on Nepal. So I think they're going back to what they know. Casey does stay in, though, for Sussy Sloths, so there's no change there. So we saw Jaxa earlier on Nepal, but Casey was definitely getting it done with the Sojourners, so now boosted. Staying with the Edgelord. I don't hate this at all. I don't hate it at all.
I don't hate it either, but it does mean they do have to play quicker than Mischievous Boxes. If you're going to run that Reaper, you're going to have to run them down. And we saw both teams have the capability of doing so on King's Row, but I think there's a little bit of a difference. I think there's a lot more avenues to work around on not just a map over here like New Junk City, but just Flashpoint in general. So I'm really curious to see how Mischievous Boxes is going to take their peel to kind of know when to kind of pull back when they realize they're not gaining anybody. Because if they're caught out in the wrong spot by Boosted, we've seen it. It can end very badly.
Well, there's lots of, in the same avenue that there's a lot of places for these flankers to go. There's a lot of places for Boosted to teleport to and use that Shadow Step to get away. So, I mean, it kind of works in favor there. There's a little bit of extra mobility, a little bit of extra sustainability in these fights for Boosted. I think that's what you're looking for.
100%, but already gonna see that recall being forced out onto Gilbert, but both these teams eventually got to send somebody onto the point as the Flashpoint is going to open things up here. Both teams more than fine just hitting some pot shots away, waiting for somebody to make the mistake of going a little too far, as Evelyn going to be the first one to bring the pressure onto the point. But here comes that aggression, sending in the speed onto Casey, but is going to be able to stay alive for the time being. It's still nobody down yet, but just really trying to stop the pressure, and Casey's going to be the one caught out Unfortunately, Evelyn just a second too late, but that's a really good trade out to get that directly back boosted. Gonna be hitting away that immortality field, gonna keep Sanji alive for the time being. This fight is very much still could go either way, but it's really Boost that has to come in and really kind of help delete Sanji, who's still getting a ton of health, but we are going to see that first peek over for Mischievous boxes, who are really keeping themselves in this.
Over with the pulse bomb already, watching for the eat. The stick is there, it's good!
Fantastic right there, but we do see that comeback. Casey managing to get rid of NC, and now Sanji going to be taken out in the process as well. Point looking like it's going to flip over, hopefully trying to get rid of Stewie in the process. Only 30% on the clock, still nice to get it, but at the very least, you do end up forcing out... Did they force? Yeah, they forced out the Kitsune Rush, so that's a pretty important ultimate to get out.
Yeah, pulse for Kitsune, you take that all day long. I mean, Gilbert has really been putting in the work here, and then, you know, back on the more comfortable Tracer pick here, like this angle that they're trying to take. I want to see them go completely around the Sussy Sloths and hit him from behind, hit it from the front to back, hit it from the front to back!
Ooh. Yep, and already for Sussy Sloths, a lot more coming online here. We do see boosted is only to that 70%-ish marker, but they could take it very quickly if they just kind of run down Sanji, who's trying hard to survive. The bomb is going to come out, hoping to find somebody. Not going to find anybody, but at least going to force them to kind of pull back for a moment as Casey going to be the first one to be caught out. This is going to be a really tough one, but that's going to be a fantastic pick onto Gilbert to turn that thing around. Sanji waiting for their moment, though. The beats are both ready to go. This fight could go either way, and imagine we're going to see a lot of ultimates. Dreadman barely going to stay alive to get that beat off. But we see both important ults being used by Mischievous boxes. They really just had the support ultimates, but with Evelyn taking out, this fight could very much be coming to its end very quickly. Eventually going to be drained away, but 6-7 ain't no stranger to getting picks of their own, but Sussy Sloths eventually going to fall over. But we're going to see the battle coming up here between DPS ults and support ultimates. That beat and that amplification matrix still in line for Mischievous boxes.
I mean, Hunter, the big kicker here is that 6 foot, because of that kill, gets up to 90%, and now as they approach, they're going to get this Kitsune Rush online with one kunai to the head, and that's going to be all she wrote for Mischievous boxes. I'm anticipating Sussy Sloths to take this first point.
Yep, 100% here. We'll see how much the aggression is going to come through for Sussy Sloths. With 3 ultimates to work with, could use that Kitsune to at the very least force out a couple of ultimates from Mischievous boxes, but we're seeing immediate pressure as well, hoping to find the flip. The beat is going to be infested. 6-7 is going to get Kitsune Rush out just barely, and now it might be kind of boosted, and Evelyn was a little hungry today. Boosted though, not going to find anybody this time around. Cannot make the miracle happen twice. Mischievous boxes going to be taking away this first point here in a moment after the flip comes through. Nobody going to be able to recontest. And, you know, pray for Mischievous boxes because they hold on to the amplification matrix. They will have time to get this point. And realistically, with the respawns working, there's a small chance they get there first.
Boosted, please blink twice if you completely telegraphed that attempted Death Blossom. That was, I could have read that on the front page of the Sunday paper. Holy cow. Got to be a little bit more deceptive when you go with that, but you do have the KC overclock. They need to get something going here. Otherwise, they're going to be facing match point.
That is an ambitious bond if I've ever seen any. Likely not going to be able to remix. Somehow still does, but that fight's more or less going to be over as it happened. But Sanji has to get straight. This fight should have been over already, and Casey is going to try to make it happen. You see NC trying to make their way out of it, getting rid of KC, and Boosted somehow is keeping things alive. This is still alive. It's down to the 1v1, and Boosted somehow stays alive through it all.
Well, Boosted gets a little bit of revenge, a little bit of redemption as well. Completely telegraphed Death Blossom there, going in to that defensive point in the arena. But I mean, still, this Amp Matrix is online, and you're looking now for Boosted to work up to this Blossom. You're looking for Trapman to get the beat online, because this is going to be a very nasty window coming from iSpawn Camp U.
Yeah, it's really going to force a lot of them to kind of really get off that high ground. It's going to be really hard to play there, and you see it right there. All going to drop below. Make sure nobody is within the avenue of being able to caught by it. But now NC is going to take advantage of this fact. Sanji, though, is going to find that very first pick, and now the roll down going to come into effect. We do see the one pick from Giraffe Man, but it's not going to be enough to turn this one back around, and forcing the stall for as long as they can. And Evelyn going to be the last person. We see the effect of using all those ultimates in that previous fight, but still, 70% is pretty good to work with. But for Sussy Sloths, they're going to have that beat and that Death Blossom. Both of them have had pretty mixed results thus far.
Yeah, we'll see. I mean, it's going to be beat BB here. It's going to be the Pulse versus the Blossom. I don't know. I mean, if Evelyn's hungry, then Evelyn will probably get another E.
Yep. Oh, we will have to see here in a moment. Boosted looking like they're ready to go, sitting at 98% now. We see the aggression coming through. Boosted is going to hit one, looking to find somebody. Going to help get rid of Sanji more or less. Going to drain them away. The rest of Mischievous Boxes at this point would be very smart to just take the back off. It's looking like they're going to. So a recontestment here, 100% in the cards for Mischievous Boxes.
Good thing for both teams, though, is that they keep their beats. So, I mean, great patience there. The Pulse Bomb did come out. I think that boosted, one ultimate for one ultimate. Good stuff for both of them. Now we'll see what Gilbert can do done kind of in the neutral. See if you can force this either Kitsune or the beat out.
Yep, gonna get forced out, gonna be used, which means this is gonna be a tough one for Sussy Sloths to come back with. I imagine you might just take the, take the stall on the point. Nobody gonna be caught out with the bomb either. Gilbert's gonna be cleaning things up here. I don't know why Sussy Sloths are going for the hard take back, because now they used two of their ultimates. They could have just gone for the stall, got the 99%, and had more ultimates, but now this next fight's gonna be tougher than it really should be for them.
I don't think they expected the Sanji Rampage coming out, so, I mean, you trade both tank ultimates, so, I mean, in that respect, I can see it. But, I mean, look for Casey right now. We've seen them, what they can do with an overclock so far today. They need to get a touch, and they need to get it now.
Yep, 95%. We're going to see that touch come through. Overtime going to be activated, and here we go. The double ultimates coming in line for Sussy Sloths. Really want to take this one to point. So close to flipping over. Gilbert bringing a lot of chaos, but Casey ready to go to be able to take them out, and now the point flips back over to Sussy Sloths' favor. Hoping to be able to take out Stewie from the high ground, but we're simply going to see the reset be taken by the remaining members, and Sanji making that effective swap over to the Zarya instead.
Watch for Evelyn to go to the Arisa.
Oh, no.
I think that would be the next logical, or the Ramatra. Once they see the Zarya come out here. Oh my god, what amount of damage, and what a lamp coming through. Holy cow.
Yeah, that is devastating for Mischievous Boxes, and now it really shouldn't be much of a question of who's going to unlock this point first. It really should be Sussy Sloths. And they do get a bit of all charge back as well, and that Pulse Bomb is now gone. Uh-oh.
I like it. I like it, and I like the fact that Evelyn went back to see if they could, make sure they mitigate any kind of problems coming through. So, I mean, as the point unlocks here, this should be Sussy Sloths getting point control here. I'm looking for 6 foot second. They need to build up very quickly to this next Kitsune rush because they're going into a window.
Yeah, it's going to be really tough to try to win this fight because there's a potential chance they do use both here to be able to take it 100%. We're going to see that initial window, and right now it's really going to be on for Evelyn to kind of come back here and there to force it. No one dead quite yet outside of Gilbert, and that's devastating to have lost so early because there's such a good disruption tool for this team. And now Sanji's in an awkward situation, going to get ran down here by the rest, and this just turned into worst case scenario, not able to make anything happen off the window. And Sussy Sloths don't even have to use anything to win the fight either.
Oh my god, boosted, hello, boy. Nice. That's good stuff. That's good stuff. That's a great pursuit there. They recognize that the Zarya is now no bubble protection, and they did it for free. So look at all those check marks here for Sussy Sloths and Sanji. I mean, while I like the Zarya pick, you're just not getting the value. You're not able to keep up long enough, even with the 20% DPS, the healing reduction here. It's just not enough. So we'll see what they can get done here. The window really got nothing. They just pushed into it and just absorbed all that damage.
Yeah, Gilbert going to get the initial, going to boot back Boosted, who's not going to get anything except for that immortality field. We're seeing the mega aggression. You don't have to worry about the point necessarily, but they're going to anyway. Why not? NC going to be taken out. The fight is good as over already. And now a clean 100-0 for Sussy Sloths. And Sanji, I mean, realistically getting off of it is the right option, but they're going to have that ultimate. They're going to try to hang on and make some use of it because they do have 4 ultimates going into this next fight.
I mean, we're going to see 3 from Sussy Sloths. So, I mean, I think that you've got a little bit more impact with the overclock here from Casey. We've seen how good they've been. Now, NC Veland could be just an absolute beast here, especially if they can catch them on the backside with the Graviton Surge and catch them completely unawares.
Yeah, I mean, there's entirely the chance that they do try to catch either like Casey or 6 Foot Giraffe just out if they see them alone, because that Giraffe's not going to get a lot, and that's what we see. The cleanse can be brought out, but the DM is there. The Pulse Bomb is massive, though. Gilbert with 3 on it, make it 4 on the cleanup. And holding on to that Grav, well, it has paid its dues.
Big Bang comes through in a big way. Now, we'll see how this comes through. I mean, there's nothing to do there. I mean, you just get completely waylaid. No immortality barrier. Absolutely perfect. coming from.
Yeah, but at the same time, Sussy Sloths not using anything in that fight, gonna have the ult advantage for the moment. But I spawn camp you. He's gonna have that window coming online very shortly. And Casey getting a ton of pressure from Gilbert, but Casey having none of it. The beat can be brought online. Draftman, though, is holding onto this for now, but the beat is gonna commit as soon as we see the overclock come up from the other side. But NC taking out very quickly a bomb. Just to add a little bit of flair at this point. Eventually gonna flip back over, but a nice little bit of stall being given here by Stewie. This point's going to get about to 73, 74%. Still a very nice healthy percentage to get. That's one fight territory, and Sloths do use that beat and that bomb to be able to take the point.
Yeah.
Kinda worth.
Is it though?
Maybe.
Is it though? I mean, look at Sanji's going to have another Graviton Surge. So, I mean, they definitely found the range with the right clicks. We'll see. We'll see how they go, especially running into an amp matrix. Yeah, this is going to be a very difficult hole here for Sussy Sloths. We're basically looking at Flashpoint 5 if they land any kind of a good grab here.
Yeah, but we do have that Kitsune Rush ready to go. Casey has done a lot of things so far. Hopefully he's going to deliver some pressure as Gilbert is really just trying to beat away over Evelyn. Make sure that debuff stays on them constantly as well. A nice boop there for a moment. They're going to take them out of position as this is just taking up more and more. Already coming up on 7% or 70%. Again, just constantly booping off of the high ground as soon as they go there because they're having a hard time running down anybody but Casey. Unfortunately, going to be the subject of being caught out. And now we see the investment. Two going to get caught out. Looking to find that once again, but Evelyn has found one. Boosted is at 90%, hoping to get this online, and they're all staying alive right now somehow, some way, but Boosted eventually going to go down the fight, still massively going back and forth, as right now Evelyn hoping to just find somebody getting super low, eventually being taken out, but this fight is nowhere near over quite yet, but it's Sanji having all of that health, all of that damage, that seems like it's going to eventually go back into the favor of Mischievous boxes. Whole team is draining a little bit, but if Sussy Sloths can somehow get back, they have a lot to work with.
Now, you saw them, the disengage coming from 6 foot 7. They're going for Flashpoint 5 here because they're going to have a 5 ultimate fight or a 4 ultimate fight coming into it. Beat, V-beat, that's on their favor. But both DPS ultimates, I mean, you can get the Pulse Bomb relatively quickly, but NC Violent is going to have a harder time going into that defense matrix of Evelyn. Yeah, they're just hedging their bets here on the last map here, or on bomb flats here as they go in.
Yep, can't blame them in the slightest, but Sussy Sloths, for ultimates on the line. It's really going to come down to a question of how much do they have to use to try to win this fight, as the bomb is going to come online first and foremost. At the very least, it's going to somehow get rid of Stewie, and everyone's going to be able to get back in the remake as well. Boosted, looking for it, literally going to throw it right in the face of Sanji, more or less said, hey, please kill me, I want to die, thank you very much. And now, this fight looked from very winnable to now very suspect, as Evelyn going to get caught in the grab, is not going to be able to negate that damage. And this fight went from almost seeming like it should be in Sussy Sloths' favors to Boosted more or less feeding themselves directly to Sanji.
Ugh. You just nailed it. It's not boosted, it's feasted. Or inted. I'm not sure which one is the more correct past tense, but yeah. I mean, once again, it's a telegraphed death blossom coming in. You could have held it. You could have popped it when you popped the bomb when they were trying to negate the disengage from it. Now, Sanji on their own diva here.
Yep, a double beat ready to go, but most importantly, NC does have that overclock ready to go to burn away that immortality field, kind of force them back. Maybe force that pressure on the point as well. And here it comes from both sides. The beat's gonna come online, and it all comes down to who puts out this most damage. This is runs out the cleanse, but it'd be used kinda early from 6 foot 7 to make sure everyone stays alive. Gilbert forcing the way onto the point, but has to make sure to call or recall back, as they're hoping to find it. The pulse bomb online, not going to find anybody is the point. Importantly, is going to flip over at 67%, but Boosted's going to go down early, putting all that pressure down at 6 foot 7. Is going to go for the investment. Casey already finding one, needs to be able to find a second, but is taking way too much pressure. Woo! But look at that, Casey's bringing this one alive, keeping this team up and in it. But it is Gilbert at the end of the day that is keeping these going for their team, staying alive, delivering a ton of pressure, and eventually this is going to go back over to Sussy Sloths. Evelyn going to be the last person standing. Hopefully doesn't use the bomb. They are indeed going to hold on to it. Eventually, Graphen making their way back. And to be fair, this is an excellent stall as Boosted's going to make it back too. I love this. They're buying a ton of time. In this next fight coming up, it's going to be the absolute world to both of these teams.
Well, I mean, you've got the self-destruct for both sides, but the pulse bomb is going to be the kicker. I think that Gilbert has shown their class on the Tracer all day long. This is to take us to 2-1. Somebody's going on match point after this flashpoint.
Yep, 100%. That bomb, the only thing sitting in the table for Sussy Sloths. They're really not gonna have anything else online unless KC manages to live and does a lot. But it's all about staying alive, preserving this fight. KC getting a lot of pressure, and that is gonna get rid of 6'7". As soon as that clem comes out, the bomb gonna come online in an awkward position. It's only gonna get rid of an immortality field. Sanji is gonna find that cleanup on the boosted as well, and it's looking like we're gonna be going up 2-1 in the favor of Mischievous Boxes, taking away that 5th flashpoint and really making it work. Sussy Sloths, unfortunately, in a lot of scenarios, using ultimates in places where they didn't necessarily need to. It happened more than once too. I wouldn't call it out elsewise, but it happened in very devastating points, like you kind of brought up here on the 4th point.
Yeah, I mean, the 4th point, the 5th point, the death blossoms were so telegraphed.
Yep.
Aye. There's a lot to unpack there. You need to have a chat with their flex DPS there and boosted, because that's what, I mean, the real difference between the flashpoints is just an ill-timed blossom or an over-telegraphed ultimate coming through. Got to be a lot more stealthy. I expect a lot more at the higher ends of the console open tier. But as it stands, I mean, Mischievous Boxes definitely took the fight in the bull by the horns, and that's why they win it out. Clean fights, clean ultimates. The Big Bang was the best one. Somebody has to please clip that. Bailey, put it out on our Twitter, because that's you don't see that very often.
No, you do not, and I think that is a very key difference between these teams, is Mischievous Boxes using a lot of these ultimates together. They use one because they're going to use another, or vice versa. For Sussy Sloths, it seems like they use one, okay, that didn't work, let's use this one next. And then if it doesn't work, like, oh, I guess we might just lose the fight. They've had some really good ultimates. We've seen Boosted doing great things on the Reaper, but for them, it's either a complete hit or an utter whiff, as we'll kind of look over here. And Sanji, oh my goodness, Sanji, 18.5k damage overall, and look at 6.7 again, putting up 6k, basically the same thing they had on King's Row. A couple very impressive stat lines, and I mean, the biggest thing at all, Gilbert on that Tracer, 9 pulse bombs within that span. That is, I know Tracer can get a little quickly, but 9 is a lot to get in that span of 5 points.
I mean, if you're looking conversely, 6 Kitsune rushes across 5 flashpoints, that's pretty damn good too.
Oh yeah.
So, I mean, you know, it's back to the drawing board here for Sussy Sloths. We're one map closer to getting to where you think that we're going to be. I thought it was going to be 3-1 Sussy Sloths. So, well, my prediction is out the door. So, yeah, 0-7 to me. And Coliseo is going to be our next map. The push, you know, we saw that there's going to be changes to push now. I know that I think it's a quick play. I'm not sure if it goes into competitive as well, but I mean, you're going to get a speed boost coming out of spawn, if I read that correctly.
I know that's the thing for Flashpoint. I do not believe that's it for push, though. Push, I believe, is they're going from 10 to 8 seconds only in quick play, and then it is sped up when you are pushing the barrier, when the bot is pushing the barrier. It'll still be the same speed when it's free running, but when it starts pushing the thing, it will move a little bit faster, which should result in a pretty interesting change and potentially going to make push a little bit of a faster map. But obviously, that's not going to affect us here today. Still going to be rocking at that 10 minutes. And I really think we're going to come back to a form between either that Junker Queen or potentially the Diva as well. You could pull out the Ramatra, but I think at this point, Mischievous Boxes have proved enough that they are comfortable enough running that Junker Queen consistently. And I think it's what they're likely going to pull out. I'm just more interested in what Sussy Sloths are going to run, because they've shown a bit of a mixed bag and not all of it has quite clicked.
If I have my dithers about me, I think that Mischievous Boxes actually try to push the Zarya again here, just for the space control. They're trusting in Stewie. I mean, Stewie has been kind of the unsung hero. I know that Icebound Campu has been like the leader as far as putting the majority of heals out, but the utility of Stewie has been underrated here. We have not given this Lucio player for Mischievous Boxes enough credit, getting their team out of sticky situations when it counts the most. So, yeah, I like what I'm seeing from Stewie there. Beautiful job on the Lucio. Bit of a change up here coming from Sussy Sloths. We're bringing out the Brigitte again, and Evelyn back out on the Battle Cattle. We'll see how this works.
Yeah, and this does have a potential of working, but this does mean that Sussy Sloths are going to play a little bit slower in comparison to Mischievous Boxes, who are still going to, like you said, have Stewie over on that Lucio. So these fights should be slower, but Sussy Sloths, overall, realistically, should have more power to them, but we're going to have to wait and see as Gilbert already in the back line, trying to hit away, just put a lot of damage and a lot of pressure onto Giraffe Man. Don't want to give them the ability to focus, and already just getting drained down. 6'7", wasn't able to help them for a moment there, and Gilbert just already putting in a lot of impact, but still nobody down yet, as that point is going to unlock.
I mean, Gilbert is the distraction. The rest of the team is the hammer. Holy cow, that is a early kill. Boost their big source of their damage is gone. I mean, you do have Casey on the Cassidy right now that's going to deal with the Tracer, possibly with the magnetic grenade.
Yeah, we do see Gilbert going down. The Immortality Field getting used as well from both sides. So down to Evelyn to kind of create some pressure. And Sanji going to go in mega deep, going to get super low, going to get knocked out of mech as well. Likely going to get drained away as well. But you trade out Casey to be able to do that. And NC still alive, still putting in absolute magic. And that's a nice spear onto I camp, spawn camp U. This is still back and forth, but for Sussy Sloths, for Evelyn specifically, they are not going to be very long for this point.
I mean, they just don't have the sustain. They don't have. They're not going to have to find the mini up here. Gilbert's going to say, I'm going to feast on Battle Cattle for lunch. Oh, the eat!
Oh, nice! Good eat by Evelyn. That's going to go away. Gilbert does get them quickly, but still, that would have been a really important one to catch onto Evelyn, who likely would have died. But speaking of things that are important, Evelyn coming up close over to that Terra Surge. It's not the most useful ultimate in the world, but it can gain you a lot of space in some scenarios. But for now, Evelyn really just hoping to kind of play for that right area. Sanji got deleted. Control, delete, gone. And now Sussy Sloths in a fantastic position to get this bot really moving. And they should be able to get a pretty healthy distance here as well.
I mean, Casey, while they've gone down twice so far, has provided a lot of the eye test here for Gilbert on this Tracer. And there we go. Sanji back over to the Zarya, by the way. So
yeah,
eats are still on the board here. And there we go. Casey getting the value with the Peacekeeper.
Yeah, now NC hoping to find somebody. No one going on quite yet, but Evelyn just caught at the wrong place at the wrong time. That's going to be a fantastic use of the Amplification Matrix as well. And we're going to see a couple of late deaths here as well. You can see right now Casey, or more so Giraffe Man trying to get out. Not going to be a very likely story, as we see Casey going to be dying late as well. So Mischievous Boxes in their own right in a very good position, but Sussy Sloths are the ones coming out with 4 ultimates here, and some pretty deadly ultimates when you look at a couple of these, including that rally and that overclock.
I'm looking for the beat. I'm looking for Stewie to have just one of the most perfectly timed beats here, up against this, up against the Terra Surge, up against the Deadeye as well. That could actually be a very disastrous combo coming in.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, it's entirely possible, but for the time being, nothing being brought out quite yet. Boosted is super low, though. That Pulse Bomb did come out, not going to get to anybody, as Gilbert is still wreaking absolute havoc, and here we go, the heavy investment. We see that coming through with the Terra Surge, hoping to catch people getting low. Immortality Field going to be able to keep a lot of people alive through that, but things are going to even directly back up on the point right now. Gilbert being taken out means there's a lot of presence being lost. Sanji is getting super big, and they're going to be able to get that. That's 3 people, and 6 foot's not going to be able to keep everybody up, but still things are tying up. Boosted, getting unbelievably low, and it's the trade out. Evelyn coming up massively on this Orisa, really just trying to stay alive, as Boosted is going to invest with literally a lick of life to them, and it's not going to work out. These fights, Billy, have been absolutely insane between these two teams, but for the time being, Mischievous Boxes going to take this one away and should be able to take advantage.
You know what? Stewie was just waiting for me to call his name to show it big. I got a 2K to solidify the fight and get the meterage lead going through here. We are about at the halfway point, my friend, and we are just now approaching the 50-meter mark. Every inch of this map has been fought tooth and nail.
Yep, and we just saw a ton of damage being boosted over there into Sanji, and this thing's getting ready to go for the butt scratch as well. It is so close to it, and Evelyn sticking on the Diva. I don't like this anymore. I agree with the philosophy that if you're good at Diva, play the Diva, but Sanji is constantly staying at high charge, drilling into you, and you can see Gilbert going back in, not able to find a target, but that's a nice spot to kind of find them at the recall, and Gilbert not going to last long in this world, but for Mischievous Boxes, the damage they wanted to do has kind of already been done.
Oh, it's so good. It's so good. The Mischievous, I mean, that's a great shot, too. Oh, no. Yeah, this is starting to turn. Well, I say that it's turning now in the favor of Sussy Sloths. They need to get themselves some really good placement here. They need to somehow spy check where Gilbert is.
Yeah.
And watch their backline, because that's the big problem right now. Is that their backline is just being harangued by Gilbert. They got another pulse bomb online. This is number 3.
Yep. This next fight can be pretty important overall for Sussy Sloths. They will get a couple of opportunities overall between the back and forth, but you don't want to keep giving Mischievous Boxes momentum of being able to bring it back and forth. You are the team that has to make that impact, because Mischievous Boxes don't have to be the ones to be super aggressive as Gilbert. Unfortunately, going to whiff away that pulse bomb and ace dodge there by Boosted, who's going to go for the chase, eventually forcing out the own recall as Boosted's in a bad situation. He just does not have anybody with them, as that bomb is going to come online as well, and Evelyn's not going to see the light of day. I really hope this is where Evelyn decides to make a swap, because I think the D.Va is just not going to do anything into this situation anymore.
Nope, it absolutely isn't, and it doesn't look like they have made the switch. They do see 6 foot going over to the Kiriko. So, I mean, you're looking to play for Kitsune Rush, give everybody the boost during that ultimate, but I mean, they've got massive problems here. Pulse Bomb online for boosted, but you're going into a beat and a Graviton Surge. This is it.
Yep, that grab ready to go, and it's going to catch absolutely nobody. That Pulse Bomb going to come online, getting a couple people below, specifically these supports, but they're still alive. They're still kicking, but Iceball and Campion going to be the first one taken down. Sanji going to be able to catch 6'7", literally the frame before that came online, but eventually he's taken out in their own right. But, Sheffield, the important part is despite Sussy Sloths winning that fight, Mischievous Boxes, they did unlike that checkpoint once again, so everybody is going to get the good spawn. They will be able to recontest, likely at this upcoming corner here on the other side of the walls here.
You know what I'd like to see? I'd like to see Boosted go to a Sombra, just to get in the back line, just to give the supports a little bit of room for pause here. Otherwise, take a wide swing.
Ooh.
Well, that's a good pick. I mean, yeah, this should be some good meters coming through for them, especially with Gilbert going down too.
Yep, but Boosted going around the far side, taking the scenic route as Sanji's super low, going to be taken out. A massive pick, and they're getting one after the other, getting rid of Stewie late as well. Should be no issue for them to get the butt scratch here as well. I can't imagine Mischievous Boxes making it back in time, but they still have 4 ultimates coming up, still have a lot of fight in them. So for Sussy Sloths, this next fight, extremely important for them.
I mean, yeah, this is a butt scratch moment for them. They might get a last-second touch here. No, they do not. So, I mean, forward spawns are up, but the beat comes out.
Yeah, and Casey, unfortunately, going to be the receptionist being caught out, and now NC hoping to find another target. But the bomb's going to go up in the air, not going to catch them on the going down, but we'll catch them the second time around. Dang, NC, they can't do that to Atlas. They've got a family. And guess what? In the meanwhile, that bot is pushing, which means certain people are not getting that close spawn. Mischievous Boxes put themselves in a great position here, but it's still very winnable for Sussy Sloths. They still have 4 ultimates, but Mischievous Boxes really needed to win that fight, and they 100% do.
I don't understand the bombs.
Nope.
I'm failing to understand the bombs here. You had an opportunity to kind of launch it and let it go, but Kitsune Rush comes out.
Yep, Rush is going to be out, taking the aggression, and here it comes. Casey needs to find somebody.
Ooh.
Woo! Delete it, and that's the double ults being used. The pulse bomb from Boosted finding nothing. Boosted does manage to get rid of Gilbert. Very important pick, but Boosted, in their own right, needs to stay alive. You can pull back. You can pull back, get the health back, let this go for a moment, because this fight's going to be very important. You got the beat for the crowd, but it'd be really nice if Evelyn could eat one of these.
It's going to be up to... I think that Casey's going to have to be absolutely clutch here. Yeah.
Yeah, Boosted's already down. Oh, no, that is
over.
Devastating. That's a very bad scenario. Now, Evelyn, I gotta say it right now. I don't care about potentially getting this bomb. I don't care about potentially trying to eat another crowd. You need to make the swap now. The D.Va is just getting ran through every single fight, and you can only do so much as 6'7" to keep them alive.
Well, I got the prediction right. I just got the wrong team. Just got the wrong team there. Yeah, Sussy Sloths are baked here. The indecision here in the tank department. I like the mobility, which I know is what you're going for, but the Zarya is just too damn strong.
Yeah, and they're constantly managing these bubbles so perfectly, so they're constantly staying in that 70-plus charge range. Boop, not going to get rid of anybody. Everyone's going to get demacked. Going to have to use the bomb.
What's the bomb?
Well, they have to get the remake. They very much have to in that scenario. They cannot do anything if they don't get the remake. But well, that is what? No way! No way! No way! Stewie stays alive from that. That is insane. Oh my god. But either way, like very much still alive. Evelyn being drained away at. Not gonna have a whole lot boosted. Might have to be the hero with this pulse bomb as Evelyn is just being drained. The beat coming online, and now this could be the cleanup to end it all. 6 foot and Evelyn already down boosted. Did not find anything with that pulse bomb. Gilbert might not have either, but they sure as heck didn't need to. Boosted, gonna set back a nice little victory grab. Mischievous Boxes will stay undefeated, taking the 3-1 over Sussy Sloths.
Yeah, and I've got I hate to beat a dead horse, but the Diva ain't it. Not up against Azaria.
No.
Not up against the support line of Stewie and Icepawn Camp. Nah. Too much sustain.
Oh, no.
Too good of the management. Play the game cool, but you lose the war. You win this fight, but you lose the war. And that's the big problem, is that they just did not have the answers to deal with the adaptability of the tank play from Mischievous Boxes.
No, they just didn't. And it's like, it's not even that, like, Evelyn did a bad job on the Ursa or the Diva either. They're doing a fine job, but again, like, you're going into a contest of rock, paper, scissors. You know the person always pulls rock. You keep using scissors. I don't understand the ideology behind it. You can be so good at something, but this is the kind of game where some characters just have picks you can't run into. You just can't do that kind of thing. I appreciate the bravado. I love Diva as much as the next person, but it's not something you can do consistently. They had their moments, but I think after they lost this fight right here, 100% should have had the swap. Maybe you match the Zarya. Hey, maybe you even go to the Winston as well. Focus on a bit of dives. There's some high ground to work with, but unfortunately, that is not something we're going to see here today as we have our maps coming through here. It was a big back and forth entirely. Like, even that Colosseo was close in its own right up until that last minute or so.
Yeah, I mean, it was a fantastic match. I mean, let's call it spade a spade. This was a hell of a match. 2 Titans here in our NA console open tier, but I mean, just a little bit too much adaptability, a little bit too much lethality coming through from Gilbert. That was just a fantastic display from that Tracer. And I mean, absolutely playing it to the top tier of what we can see here in the console open tier. So I'm impressed. I think the Boosted, has some really good moments on their own as the Tracer. So, I mean, as it stands, I hate to see the loss, but, the gears just weren't quite clicking there. Didn't have the ability to swap when it was required.
Yeah, and it's an unfortunate thing to not be able to kind of pull that off. But at the very least, you are 2-1 now. You still have a potential pathway to get to the midseason playoffs. It is still possible, but this is a great opportunity to have a learning experience from this. Go into your next match, change things around, be a little bit more willing to swap up that tank position. You can go 3-1, and you will more or less secure yourself a spot within those midseason playoffs. So very much still a road for them. It's not nearly the end, but at the very least, it is a big celebration coming through here. But regardless, Chef Billy, it's been a fantastic night over here. We're obviously not completely done yet. We do have the desk coming their way. And I think there's a certain Joker that is very happy with their pick right now, but we're going to be sending it back over to them. But Chef Billy, it has been a fantastic time as always. But of course, we're going to send it back over to our desk to break down all the action.
Thank you to our amazing casters, Hunter Tane and Chef Billy, for everything that they did to bring us through that engaging series, still ending in a obvious Mischievous Boxes win 3-1 against Sussy Sloths. Headrammer, yeah, listen, I know I'm going right for you, buddy, because you were the Sussy Sloths believer, and well, you had some choice ideas of what they could be doing to improve upon themselves.
Yeah, it really just felt like, overall, the team I thought actually played quite well.
Oh my gosh.
I really just think that a little bit of changing of heroes in terms where they're actually being countered. I think the Diva, honestly, is working pretty good throughout most of the series. Towards the end, they definitely struggled a little bit against the Zarya. Additionally, it seemed like the team was a little bit unwilling to commit ults either early to engage or when the other team engaged their ult as well, because we'd often find Sloths would lose a member of their team and then they would commit their ults, or they wouldn't realize that they need to win this fight in order to be able to touch, for example, on New Junk City. And I think if they clean those things up a little bit, they probably actually could have won this series. I think the series is closer than the scoreline shows, but
yeah,
the Mischievous Boxes played very well.
Without a doubt. I mean, right, Ray. We've seen the fight out of Sussy Sloths. We saw it multiple times. We saw it, especially here on Kings Row.
Yeah, no, we talked about while we were, all watching together, just how close all these maps were. I mean, both points on Nepal were pretty much 99-99. We talked about how on Kings Row, Mischievous Boxes honestly should have won that if it wasn't for a boosted Death Blossom hero play. And then Sussy Sloths easily could have won New Junk City. So it was definitely touch and go for both teams. But I think at the end of the day, Mischievous Boxes, some other players were able to come up with the goods when it was needed. And the big shout outs to Gilbert in this series. Had a flooded deadlift on New Junk City.
Oh yeah, we'll talk more about that in a little bit, but I want to go over to you, Joker, and talk about the performance that we did get out of Mischievous Boxes, right? They were doing so well in so many different instances, but there was also still some points where they were struggling against Sussy Sloths, it felt like, especially if Gilbert wasn't really coming online.
Oh yeah, no, definitely. We're looking through the replays. It's kind of a Gilbert highlight reel. But when Sanji really wasn't feeling their tank play, I feel like they suffered quite a bit. The Zarya really helped them in those last two maps. If it wasn't for that, we might be talking a completely different storyline right now.
The what ifs, the what could be's, and the what may have happened. But the only thing in front of us that is an absolute certainty is Mischievous Boxes in a 3-1 victory. But, I mean, echoing what Headrammer said, this was still an incredibly close series, even though the scoreline doesn't belay the whole story. And now, I think, once we get through the replay and we take a look at that map history, right, we get that deeper dive into it, Headrammer, on just some of the difficulties that Mischievous Boxes themselves even just ran into against Sussy Sloths.
Yeah, we really saw that, honestly, every member of Sussy Sloths kind of had their moment at different points in times, and it felt like our team was really struggling when collectively they weren't kind of on the same page. We saw Kings Row here pushing to the bitter end, a 5-6 on Kings Row. You don't really see that one too much.
No, you don't.
Yeah, I mentioned I was actually pretty concerned. I was trying to go through my mind of like how this final fight's going to roll out. I was looking at the ults on both sides, and I thought, okay, Mischievous Boxers should clearly win this fight. They have Rampage, they have Lucio beat, and I think it was one more ultimate. And on the other side, they basically just had like Reaper ult and Lucio beat. I'm like, okay, you Rampage in, they beat, you beat in return, and then you use your Sojourn ult, and you should just win the fight. But they beat Engage, and that really, I was like, the moment I saw that one, like, that one, yeah, I'm like, this could be a problem actually. And so they read that and ended up clutching out.
It's those little things, right? It's those little moments where you're like, did that differently. This could be an entirely. We'd be maybe talking about a Sussy Sloths win. Who knows? Who knows what could happen here? But regardless, we do need to crown an MVP, gentlemen. And there was some small talks here about what would happen had Mischievous Boxes lost. That's how phenomenal this player was performing tonight. This is how much they were exuding the 3 letters MVP to their maximum. And this is none other than Gilbert themselves. It basically was, from the replays, a Gilbert 82 highlight reel. And Joker, you were the one who came forth at the very beginning championing this cause.
Oh, yeah.
Why?
Listen, guys. He first sub map, he said Gilbert MVP.
Yeah.
First sub map of Nepal.
It's true.
No, I literally just the entire kill feed was Gilbert. I mean, that's literally, I'm like, yeah, this guy on Tracer is just insane. I mean, I was talking like we could draw comparisons to Hopeful here, especially since I believe Gilbert plays on PS4. So this could just pretty much be the PS4 version of Hopeful. And he was literally just carrying every single fight. Literally every time he threw a pulse bomb, it pretty much stuck. And they were the grossest sticks ever. They were like fade away from downtown, like you're hitting a Kobe shot from half court. Like it was literally ridiculous. How does this man land these shots? How is that possible? It was just incredible stuff.
I remember seeing the stat line of their pulse bombs on one of the maps. They had 9 pulse bombs.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you said carry. Not only carrying, but there was a deadlift.
Oh, yeah.
At one point.
No, I'm going to also talk about, like Ray was saying, we were talking about maybe naming him MVP if they lost. There's only been, in the history of North American sports, There's only been eight players in losing teams that have ever in like championship matches that have ever been crowned MVP in a losing series, and that's how good Gilbert was for us.
We would have been number 9
Yeah.
had that happened, but Mischievous Boxes didn't want to let that happen. Ray, I mean, Mischievous Boxes made a bold claim before we went into this game. Do you believe in the superiority of this team?
I think they had a great showing today. I think they are a little too Gilbert reliant at times, and that could bite them once they go against some of the bigger teams, short bus, red team, blue team. But they have a lot of time to work with before they start crossing those teams and crossing those barriers. So the team's going to have a lot of time to gel together and get ready for those opportunities. But I like what I've seen so far. There's just going to have to be work to do. The one thing I did like about them the most is they were not afraid to swap. There are plenty of times where they were on a tank and Sanji had gotten like 70 charge. They won or the fight was close, not willing to drop all that ult, swap to the better tank, and it put their team in better positions time and time again.
And again, it's all about flexibility. It's all about adaptability, right, Headrammer? It's all about being able to make those command decisions and make them decisively. That can take you through an entire series.
Yeah, if you're in these types of series, especially against teams that are like of similar skill level, you can't ever be on the back foot. You have to make a decision and go first. It's so much harder in Overwatch to react to something someone else is doing versus having to force them to react to you. And it felt like a lot of times that is how they were playing on Sussy Sloths. They were playing a little bit reactive. Now, admittedly, they also are playing D.Va, which forces you to be a little bit more reactive in general, just 'cause it's not as much of a dive tank, but it felt like if they never really fully committed to their ultimates to win the fights when they had the chance to. When they had those advantages, it didn't seem like they were quite reading them.
Indeed so. All right. Well, that is going to be it from us here on the desk after watching that Mischievous Boxes win. Once again, another big congratulations to them. Before I let us all go, I do want to get some closing thoughts from our desk, starting off with you, Joker, the newest person here on the desk.
Look for this team to make some noise in the midseason and final tournaments. Especially if they can solidify the pay around Gilbert that isn't just so heavily dependent on them to make those plays. If they can get that, we could be seeing them in the grand finals.
Ray, that's a bold proclamation from Joker.
It is very bold. And like I mentioned, they just have some time to work on it, get things glued together. I definitely think we could be seeing, as we get to the quarterfinals, semifinals, grand finals, we're going to be seeing short bus. We're going to see Mischievous Boxes. We're going to see red team. We're going to see blue team. Mischievous Boxes might become that team going forward into future tournaments that we just automatically put up there as we're bound to see these guys at the top of the top when all things are said and done. And only desk member 2-0 on predictions, baby.
Look at this guy. Hey, I'm like 2-1 now.
Look, if Ray mysteriously disappears off the desk for next week,
yeah, that's crazy how that happened.
Look at that. Hold the L, Headrammer. Hold the L.
Headrammer, final closing thoughts, my friend.
Yeah, I echo a lot of what was said about Mischievous Boxes. I also do think, though, this was not a bad match overall from Sussy Sloths. It shows that they can contend with this team, and there was a lot of situations where they could have won. I think if they just refine their game a little bit and kind of fix those areas, they honestly, if they replayed the match and fixed those things, they probably could have won the series. I don't think it's a bad showing for their team. It's going to be tough to make mid-season tournament with the loss, but because only top 4 teams really make it in. So it's going to be a little bit difficult, but I think it is possible.
Yeah, tough doesn't mean impossible, right? That means you're just going to have an uphill battle. This is time to VOD review, time to learn, time to be able to improve yourself. And we'll see what happens when we do reach that point. But once again, congratulations to Mischievous Boxes. That is going to be it from us here tonight on Friday Night Overwatch. But make sure you go ahead and hit that follow button because you don't want to miss out on all of the exciting CGL Overwatch action happening not only on Fridays, but throughout the weekend, throughout the week itself. There is so much going on. Want to say a big thank you as well to our producers and our behind-the-scenes observers for making us look and sound as good as we did. So a big thank you to Bean Garden and Hippie. Actually, not Bean Garden this time, I believe. I think it was
Little Joe.
Little Joe. So big thank you to Little Joe for coming in and being the amazing observer.
And
that they
Bailey
were.
on socials.
Bailey on socials. They're out there killing it. And of course, to our casters, Hunter Tane and Chef Billy, who without them, that series wouldn't have been nearly as hype. But again, from all of us here on the desk at Friday Night Overwatch, we will see all of you on the next broadcast.
and the ticket is yours.